the entire Yugioh GX anime in one video with 4K resolution. Also check out the video about Yu-Gi-Oh! Classic and also the video about the GX manga. Have fun! Jaden gotta go fast or he'll be late. As fate would have it, he bumps into the greatest duelist there is, who gives him the winged Kuribo, arriving in the nick of time to befriend Cyrus and watch Bastion duel. Oh, and of course, to be the last one to get a qualifying duel, which he gets to do against Crawler himself, who doesn't even use a test deck, but his own. The duel starts off badly for Jaden, because Crawler can pay 1000 life points to see Jaden's hand in his first turn, takes out Monster Reborn, then summons his ancient gear golem and takes 2000 life points from Jaden by destroying his avian. There's peace for one turn thanks to Kuribo. Then Avian comes back from the graveyard, which Jaden fuses with Burstinatrix to create Flame Wingman, then strengthens him with Skyscraper to destroy the golem and defeat Crawler. Duel 1, everyone's amazed, welcome to the Academy. Off to the Academy Island for the students to be welcomed by the headmaster. Bastion moves to Rayello, while Jaden and Cyrus end up in Slifer Red and have to share an already small room with Chumley. While wandering around, Jaden's instinct leads them to the training hall where they encounter Chess and his buddies. This screams for a duel! If only Alexis hadn't interfered to remind them of the welcome event. With a full stomach, they get a message from Chess about the duel, in which Flame Wingman is the winner. Everyone wants him. First Jaden, then Chess takes him, then back to Jaden, and if Chess can't have him, he'll just destroy him, and then the duel had to be stopped because they were dueling outside of permitted hours. So they make a quick getaway, which really annoys Jaden because he wanted to bring back the boy with flames and wings to finish the duel. Moving on to theoretical classes. With the new rules, I could understand why classes are needed, but back then... Well, Cyrus doesn't know an answer, leading Crawler to try and tear down all Slifer Reds, which only ends up embarrassing himself since he lost to a Slifer Red himself. Yeah, he's not getting out of that. But he also doesn't want to let that go and tries to trap Jaden, but accidentally catches Cyrus instead. The plan doesn't work, but Jaden still ends up being lured to the girls, so Alexis can see how good Jaden really is. The Duel of Fusions. Alexis first summons Cyberblader with a fusion to damage Jaden a bit. Jaden tries it with Flame Wingman, but it doesn't work, so he brings back Sparkman and fuses him with Clayman to get Thunder Giant, destroys Cyberblader and ends the duel. It was pretty close, but all easy. Alexis is slightly in love, but Jaden and Cyrus quickly take off. An army comes to the Duel Academy. All for a damn suitcase full of rare cards. Before that though, they have to write a test, with Jaden arriving late because he was helping a woman push her car, and then he sleeps through the test. Then a task force storms in, only for Crawler to take all the cards for himself. So it doesn't matter that Jaden and Cyrus slept through the whole thing. The woman wants to repay them, and Crawler wants to get revenge through chess with a pimped deck. So in the practical exam, Jaden, by chance, has to duel against Chess, who completely destroys Jaden with his new transformer. Until Jaden draws the card given by the shop owner, levels up his Wing Kuribo, weakens Chess and ends the duel with Avian. Chess defeated, test over, and Jaden even gets the chance to move up to Rayello. But he declines because he would miss Cyrus and his tiny glasses too much. I mean, seriously, they are absolutely useless. Alexis cries about her missing brother. Spurred by a ghost story from Professor Banner, our Slifer noobs are of course eager for a test of courage, which Crawler wants to use for his revenge. Hence he commissions the Shadow Duelist to beat Jaden in a duel. Upon arrival, they meet Alexis, who goes there from time to time because her brother disappeared there. The boys go in, Alexis is kidnapped to lure the three into a trap and force them into a duel. Not only does the masked guy hit hard with his Arcfiends, but he also tries to intimidate Jaden with his Millennium Puzzle. While it works on Chumley and Cyrus, it doesn't face Jaden. But luck is another story. No matter what Jaden tries, a game of chance keeps snatching his chances away. With Mirror Force and Flame Wingman, hope is restored, only to be taken away again. Jaden momentarily falls into despair, but Wing Kuribo pulls him out of it, allowing Jaden to see through the Shadow Duelist's cheap tricks, destroy his fake puzzle and actually enter the Shadow Realm, where the Shadow Duelist's body is taken over, continuing the duel. Things look bleak at first, but Jaden turns it around, sending the Shadow Duelist to the Shadow Realm and rescuing Alexis. Outside, they find a picture of her brother, for some reason located there, and without any sleep, they head to class. Jaden and Cyrus are punished for being in the Forbidden Dorm. If they don't win a tag duel, they will be expelled from school. Optimistic Jaden wants to train pessimistic Cyrus a bit in a duel. During the duel, Cyrus sees no future for himself, also due to a traumatic experience from childhood when Zane scolded him. Or rather, he was just protecting him and pointing out his mistake. But with Thunder Giant and Burstinatrix, it's all over for Cyrus, who loses without a chance. Although he could have achieved more if he had just played Power Bond. But he didn't play it because his brother convinced him he wasn't good enough to use it. And this brother isn't just anyone, but the best duelist at the academy, Zane. But Jaden couldn't care less and officially challenges Zane to a duel, which Crawler doesn't allow. The pessimism hits Cyrus extra hard, to the point he wants to leave the academy on a raft. Bro, you still need to officially withdraw and stuff. The only way to stop Cyrus is for Jaden to defeat Zane in front of him. Starting off weak with Avian in attack mode, Jaden then follows up with Thunder Giant, against which Zane doesn't even flinch during a direct attack. Lame. Alright, Zane strikes back with Cyber Twin Dragon, only for Jaden to play defensively and aim to end the duel in the next turn by separating his twin through defusion and fusing into a broken triple threat with Power Bond. Jaden may have lost, but Cyrus learns so much from the duel that he regains his courage and decides against drowning. A tag duel? What tag duel? The story continues with Chumley's father, who wants to take his son back home. But Chumley wants to stay at the academy. So, naturally, it's decided by a duel. Except that the dad has won the national championship 3 times in a row. With support from his friends, Chumley tries his luck. With the power of koalas, he can't lose. Not even a tiger that drank too much hot sauce, which is actually drunk as fuck. And Chumley's father sells sake, not hot sauce, something that probably didn't cross one's mind back then. Props for the effort to change all of that. But against such heavy alcohol consumption, even the koalas stand no chance. Time to retrieve his koala to fuse it with Cyrus' card to play Jaden's card. But despite his friend's help, he can't overcome the high proof challenge and loses the duel. Chumley prepares to leave, but is ultimately allowed to stay. The decisive tag duel kicks off now. To finally get Jaden expelled, Crawler deploys the best duel duo available, Para and Dogs, which irritates Chess as he wanted to be one of the duelists. Jaden gets to choose if they even want to duel against these pros.
These guys couldn't even beat male pattern baldness, so there's no way they're gonna be able to beat us.
So it's time to duel! Initially, each player summons a monster until the brothers showcase what real teamwork looks like. By the second round, they have already summoned Gate Guardian on the field, who manages to take a few points from Cyrus. Time to unveil a new elemental hero. Rampart Blaster is played, who can at least inflict some damage. But it's nothing compared to Gate Guardian, who, thanks to an equip card, continuously deals damage equal to the difference between its attack power and the defense of the destroyed monster. This makes the situation look much worse than a morning glance in the mirror. But demotivation isn't in Jaden's dictionary. With Sparkman's attack, everything will be set right, forcing Gate Guardian into defense position. Heart of the cards for Cyrus, who destroys Gate Guardian with Shield Crush. Only for them to follow up with Dark Guardian, who is first stopped from attacking, and with a Skill Tempest Skyscraper combo, Jaden gives Cyrus the assist, allowing Cyrus to fuse Tempest with Power Bond and Euphoroid to create Euphoroid Fighter. And with 8000 attack points, even Dark Guardian is outplayed, thus defeating the twins. Moving on to Yugi Ball, where Jaden and Bastion have an intense baseball game. Who loses? None other than Crawler, who sees Bastion as the next opportunity to get rid of Jaden. That's why he wants to pit him against Chess as punishment for losing to Jaden. And the other Obelisk Blue duelists are also against him. So yeah, the whole plan doesn't make much sense, but who cares as long as we get nice duels. Bastion, the one who calculates everything, whether it's sports or duels. Chess, on the other hand, is under pressure from his brothers. So he breaks into Bastion's place and throws all of his cards into the water, getting caught in the act. But it doesn't matter, because Bastion is always ready with multiple decks. Just like for this duel. With his Hydrogeddons and Oxygeddons, he sets Chess up to finish him off with his giant Water Dragon Bomb jutsu. Easy win, Chess sulks, and Jaden has a new rival. In a lab, a dueling monkey has escaped, and another monkey breaks out. Chess leaves the academy, being searched for by Jaden and the others. Instead of finding him, they find the lab monkey, who has kidnapped a friend of Alexis, King Kong style. A monkey named Wheeler, trained to duel, as if Kaiba isn't behind that program. Jaden can't miss out on a dueling monkey and challenges him. Sparkman doesn't quite cut it, Flame Wingman manages to get more out of it, but only briefly before being destroyed in the next round. Suddenly, monkeys are watching, and Jaden realizes the monkey just wants to go back to his family. Well, and the family apparently as well. Regardless, Jaden doesn't do mercy in duels and ends the monkey business with his Beast King Clayman. The friend is freed, and thanks to Banner, Wheeler, with his duel disc, is allowed to return to his family. He also has the info for the others that Chess has left for the time being. An Obelisk Blue student comes crawling to Professor Banner because he wanted to bring monsters to life, and it seems to have worked. They summoned Jinzo, who supposedly swallowed his friends, and he's next. He can't escape from the island, and he isn't safe in the Slifer dorm neither. Lights out, the guy gets snatched and wants to flee. This leads to a duel with Jaden. And since he's dueling against Jinzo, it's clear that Jinzo summons himself. Premiere for Bubble Blaster! Mudball Man finally gets to attack and even ends the duel. After the duel, the 3 Obelisk Blue students are back as well. And let's keep going the filler. The famous tennis episode where the captain of the tennis team falls in love with Alexis and Jaden has to do penalty training with him. But because Alexis talks to Jaden, he sees it as a declaration of war leading to a duel. The winner gets to marry Alexis. They just decided that now. Seems only fair that she doesn't get a say in it. And honestly, the duel wasn't even worth mentioning, given that the tennis player was supposed to be as good as Zane. The fillers are strong here. This tennis-themed deck is incredibly whack. Jaden, of course, wins and thus engaged to Alexis. Or something like that. A dual giant appears at midnight, taking down one Obelisk Blue after another. Since this causes trouble for Crawler, he incites Jaden to take him down. Coincidentally, a small Ara Yellow just lost to an Obelisk Blue, who, along with his big body, is supposed to be the dual giant. They deny it, but at midnight they can check because they encounter the giant and challenge him to a duel. With Rampart Blaster, he attacks directly, blowing their cover, and indeed, the two together are the dual giant. After a Sparkman Claim Infusion and Defusion combo, it's all over. Crawler is mad because Jaden doesn't want to reveal their identity, but whatever, let him cry about it. During the Lucky Sandwich Day, someone has pulling the best ones for weeks. And Jaden takes his sandwiches seriously, so they stake out to catch the thief red-handed. The culprit is a total Tarzan, swinging through the forest, climbing up waterfalls, despite once being a regular duelist. He was a good duelist back then, but couldn't draw the right cards. So he went into nature to become one with it and always draw the right cards, which he could never use properly. Jaden immediately wants to test this with his Avian. Avian flops, Rampart Blaster does it better. Since Tarzan almost always knows what everyone draws, he can seriously decrease Jaden's life points until Jaden pulls it off with Flame Wingman. Cyrus duels Dimitri to win a ticket for Jaden so they can view Yugi's deck at an exhibition together. Cyrus secures the win, even though Dimitri copied Crawler's deck. He had already tried with Zane's and Kaiba's decks, so there's only one deck left for him to finally win with. The deck of the king of games, Yugi Muto, which happens to be there. And after stealing it, he finally managed to win against someone like Cyrus. With the deck, he even gets Yugi's voice and calls himself by that name. And even the music changes to the OG tune when it's his turn. Here, Jaden counters the Chimera with Thunder Giant and Dark Magician with Blade Edge, only to then face Magician of Black Chaos and his Big Bang attack. Then Kuribo enters the field. Okay, it doesn't do much, but Dark Magician Girl poses a tougher challenge. Yet not tough enough for Flame Wingman and Sparkman with Skyscraper. Jaden tries to end the duel in one turn with Diffusion, but fails and then faces Black Luster Soldier, who almost defeats Jaden. On his next turn, Jaden brings back Flame Wingman, destroys the soldier and wins the duel. Many students watched this duel and Dimitri learned a lesson. Be yourself and don't try to be someone else. The deck was returned, and the lesson wasn't learned after all. Next, Dimitri tries it with Jaden. The Slifer Red Dorm gets a new member. The newcomer is actually a girl who is in love with Zane. She then sneaks into his room to smell his deck. Okay. She manages to escape in time, but Jaden doesn't, leading to a duel. During the duel, she manipulates the emotions of Jaden's monsters, causing Avian to become a traitor. After an attack from Sparkman, he also becomes a simp. Only Burstinatrix can bring the others back, and the duel is ended with Flame Wingman. Blair loses, confesses everything to Zane, only to be rejected. After all, she's only 8 years old. Wait, what? So she can't even stay. Moreover, she now has a new crush on Jaden. Zane won't represent the school in the school duel, but rather the winner between Jaden and Bastion. Additionally, someone has sneaked into the academy. He is traumatized by a duel and is actually just a reporter looking for a good story. He intended to go to the Forbidden Dorm, where students have disappeared, but the duel between Jaden and Bastion, who has thought up the crispiest strategy against Jaden, is much more interesting. Basically, Bastion plays the same cards as in the duel against Chess, with the difference that he seals Jaden's fusion card, and without fusion monsters, it's going to be tough for Jaden. After sufficient research, the veteran reporter is satisfied and could sell the story for a lot of money, potentially destroying the whole academy. Instead, he decided to watch the duel, which Jaden turns around with Blade Edge and Skyscraper. But Bastion counters with a new ritual monster, against which Jaden can't directly act, so he must find another way to end the duel. For the first time, he summons Wildheart, only to destroy it himself to take out Bastion's spells and traps, thereby taking down his life points. Thus, the winner, who will represent the school, is decided. After witnessing this duel, the reporter changes his mind about publishing the story, choosing instead to start dueling again and help find the missing students. Crowler enters a secret bunker, accessible apparently through the chicken coop and only with a special protective suit, because that looks even more ridiculous. He frees Belowski, another student who can somehow see Wing Kuribo. He duels Jaden, draining others' motivation to continue dueling with his Mokies. 3 years ago, he was the #1 duelist in his neighborhood and has been secluded to this island ever since it was discovered. Okay, while his tactics work on Jaden's friends, they don't work on Jaden himself. Despite his Moki deck looking pretty weak, through a few combos, he strengthens them to 3000, which Jaden uses to his advantage by swapping sides to win. Chess is shipwrecked and saved from drowning by a Tangela, who also gives him a new mindset and, most importantly, the yellow Ojama. He then heads to the North Academy, which only admits those who have found 40 cards in the ice. Chess accomplishes this and must next defeat 50 duelists. After 45, he takes on the remaining 4 at once. And yes, he wins against them too with Ring of Destruction and Ring of Life. Only the boss remains, who gives Chess a hard time with his Zora and Metal Zora, but Chess wins by destroying both with Chaos End and bringing his back with Return from the Different Dimension to be the best. Coincidentally, the school's principal is also the one who saved Chess from drowning. And now that Chess is the school's best, he's allowed to duel against Jaden in the school battle. He receives a new deck and outfit, so he won't lose in front of his brothers and on TV during the school duel. This only slightly psychs him out, but you wouldn't know it from the duel. There, thanks to the destroyed Masked Dragon, he summons Armed Dragon level 3, then level 5 to give Jaden a bit of a hit, and to make an even bigger impression, he summons level 7. Jaden manages to protect himself against the Armed Dragon level 7 at the last second. But since offense is the best defense, he destroys level 7 and even manages to rip some life points. Jaden tries to fortify his defenses, which are shattered by the revived level 7. Indeed, defense doesn't get you far, so it's back to offense to defeat Chess with Flame Wingman. Then Jaden protects Chess from his brothers with the Talk no Jutsu, also receiving backup from his classmates. Chess is readmitted to the Duel Academy, starting from scratch and becoming one of the Slifer noobs. Cyrus overhears a conversation involving Professor Banner that could put Jaden in danger. The next day, during a school trip, a strange light separates the group. The friends are trapped and Jaden must duel a Gravekeeper to escape. Surprisingly, the Gravekeeper uses a Gravekeeper-themed deck, putting Jaden under some pressure. And it's also no surprise when the duelist brings himself as a monster to the field. Jaden is left with only 2 cards in his hand and no monsters on the field, while the Keeper has 4. But it's not too dire, because Jaden activates the effect of Necroshade from his graveyard, allowing him to summon Blade Edge to the field, with which he attacks and drops the opponent to 0. Only one other person has defeated him before, who possesses the other half of the medallion, which Jaden receives as a reward, alongside the freedom of his friends. Kuribo shows the way, and they are back home. The Shadow Riders have assembled, prepared, and are ready to strike. So the Duel Academy also prepares, appointing Zane, Alexis, Jaden, Chess, Crawler, Banner and Bastion as protectors of the 3 Sacred Beast cards. Each receives a key that can't be simply stolen, but must be won in a duel. And then the first Shadow Rider arrives with the other half of the medallion, making them the right match. Alexis tries to warn Jaden, sensing he will be targeted first as a Slifer Red, but she's too late. Teleported to a volcano where Cyrus and Chumley are taken hostage, and the main penalty for a loss is having the soul trapped in an empty card. The first one plays with the Dragon deck. Using Troop Dragons, he gets reinforcements, strengthens the reinforcements with troops to play Red Ice Black Dragon, giving Jaden a bit of heat. Jaden counters with Rampart Blaster's direct attack, but thanks to a spell, there's a counter direct attack. Under pressure, as the protective sphere around Cyrus and Chumley continues to fade, Jaden tries his luck with Tempest. Even though both duelists have very few life points left, we now get a chick to summon Red Ice Black Dragon, only to then summon Red Ice Darkness Dragon, which becomes stronger with the dragons in his graveyard. Tempest Gun, Wildheart steps in, halves his dragon, and with Wild Edge in combination with Skyscraper, all dragons are attacked, winning the Shadow Duel. Everyone is teleported out, with Jaden unconscious and the soul of the Shadow Rider locked in a card. Only the true soul of him remains, the soul of Alexis' brother, who just went out to buy some cigarettes. The next rider emerges from the sarcophagus. Jaden is a bit knocked out, just like Atticus. So the other key holders must stop the new Shadow Rider. Together they head to her, who has been expecting them. Who's up first? Crawler's time to shine. The loser, of course, also loses their soul. Crawler feels this as her bats snacks at him. Against the werewolves and bats, Crawler's ancient gears stand no chance. He's already on the ground, if Jaden hadn't limped over to give him courage. And even though he puts up a good fight against the vampire, he loses the duel anyway, losing both his key and his soul. And that's enough for now. Time to head home, lunch is getting cold. While the others hold a crisis meeting, the vampire lady freshens up, eager to duel Zane, smelling her best. Zane shows no mercy and plays Power Bond to summon his Cyber Ant Dragon in the first round. She counters the attack, only for Zane to counter with Diffusion. She summons her Vampire Genesis, which Zane counters with Attack Reflector unit by transforming a Cyber Dragon into a Cyber Barrier Dragon to nullify the attack. Then comes the Photon Generator unit to summon Cyber Laser Dragon, destroying Genesis and dealing some direct damage. But giving up isn't an option for her. She plays Illusion Gate, taking Cyrus' soul hostage and summons another Cyber Ant Dragon. If it's destroyed, Cyrus' soul would be lost, putting Zane in a tight spot, leading him to forfeit. The second key is lost, and Zane's soul is transferred into a doll. The only one who can stand up to the vampire lady is Jaden, as his talisman, combined with half of Atticus's, makes him immune to her soul stealing. The duel starts, with Jaden initiating with Tempest and her with Illusion Gate. Whose soul will she take now? Why not take all if not for Jaden's medallion intervention. That was a fail, but she still takes Tempest. He attacks Jaden, but then immediately switches back to his side. However, Tempest doesn't fare well against Vampire Genesis. Jaden barely saves himself, but needs to do more. Vampires once lived peacefully with humans who were then eradicated. All except her. And if she wins a duel now, she gets a soul to rebuild her army. But she can't beat Jaden, who summons Flame Wingman and then fuses him with Sparkman to bring Shining Flare Wingman to the field, gaining 300 attack points for each elemental hero in the graveyard, and the destroyed monster's attack points are also deducted. Illusion Gate captures her soul, dolls revert to normal, and the castle collapses. Jaden can't mentally handle the pressure that if he loses in a duel, he and his friends could die. Understandably, he can't even relax while bathing, especially since through Winged Kuriboh he experienced a harsh LSD trip with his friends and ends up in another dimension where he duels against Kyberman. Kyberman knows exactly what's troubling Jaden and prescribes him Blue Eyes White Dragon therapy. Jaden's monsters are destroyed, his life points are shaved off by Paladin, and soon he is facing 2 Blue Eyes. He manages to destroy one with Blade Edge and Skyscraper, but it immediately returns, and with Fusion, Jaden even faces Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. Jaden tries to counter it, but then receives direct attacks from 3 Blue Eyes due to diffusion and loses the duel, only to find his friends unharmed. Kyberman leaves, the others return, and Jaden has learned his lesson. Chess is a bit angry for being in the Slifer dorm, complaining about everything being so cheap. Even though his bed is like 5 × 5 meters large. About 10 people could sleep in it. The Duel Academy is about to be bought out by Chess's brothers, provided they win a duel against Chess, where he can only use monsters with less than 500 attack points. Fair play. Only his Ojama is the only one he could use by this rule. So he heads to a well full of discarded weak monsters, where he picks up 2 more Ojamas, uniting all 3 brothers, along with more low life cards. The duel starts with Soul Tiger in defense position. It doesn't stay on the field long, because his brother overfills his field with strong monsters, against which only the Ojamas can help. They destroy all monsters with Ojama Delta Hurricane, and take some life points with Thunder Crash. That bit is enough thanks to Chaos Necromancer, who gains 300 attack points for every monster in the graveyard, and wins the duel with 1 attack. Chess is celebrated, the school is saved, and more monster spirits can sleep on Chess's gigantic bed. Morning training with Bastion, who already knows he's the next target and is puzzled by a new card in one of his decks. A card he falls in love with. He wakes up Jaden & Co. for further drawing practice. Several students have disappeared. They are building a coliseum for rare cards for an Amazon, who is of course also one of the riders. So the duel starts for Bastion. But this time it's not the soul that will disappear. She wants to marry him afterward. Bastion's life points keep dropping. Coincidence? No, considering he's into lowlies. But the Amazon still manages to wrap him around her finger, making him careless and lose the duel. 1 key is gone in exchange for a wedding. However, when Bastion had no luck with his other decks either, he was thrown out and has been pining for her for days. The hard deck is real, so he demands a rematch. But instead, Jaden steps in. The Amazons are quite strong, there are soul battles, and Thunder Giant can attack directly, but doesn't stay on the field for long. The soul battles cause a back and forth, leaving Tanya with only 100 and Jaden with 300 life points. Jaden uses another soul battle to bring her down to 0 while keeping 100 for himself. Bastion loves nothing but dueling now, and probably his lowlies, and Tanya transforms back into a tiger. Okay. A submarine docks at the Duel Academy, challenging Jaden to a duel. He is not a Shadow Rider, but just a crazy entrepreneur. He wants to build a true dueling academy under the existing one and wants Jaden as the figurehead. His water cards look quite promising. The legendary Ocean in combination with Orca gives Jaden a hard time. However, Thunder Giant saves the day again, until he faces an even more powerful monster. With Leviathan Dragon, Jaden's life points are decimated to 100. With Bubble Man, Pot of Greed, Hero returns and Neo Bubble Man with Bubble Blaster. He destroys the monster and wins the duel with Sparkman. So, if he can't buy Jaden or win him in a duel, he simply kidnaps him. But a week later he returns and all is well again. A detective comes to the academy, suggesting that the remaining keys should be hidden. Surprise! The detective is a Shadow Rider and his Dark Scorpions steal the keys while they sleep. But the gate doesn't open because the keys weren't won in duels. Super Detective Chess had placed a card with a dual spirit on each key, so he knew they were stolen. This leads to a duel against Chess, who brings his armed dragon to the fight. But he's up against the Dark Scorpions, who play themselves and attack directly in the first turn, completely mixing up Chess's gameplay. He recovers his dragon, which can attack directly, but then immediately retreats. Time for the Ojama King. With Oja Muscle, he gets a physique like from Ronnie Coleman and ends the duel with it. Shadow Rider defeated, Chess has even more party. The next Shadow Rider doesn't take long to emerge from his sarcophagus. Arbidos III, the pharaoh who supposedly never lost. Alexis and Zane are attacked by zombies, just like Jaden and the others, who are all brought onto a UFO where none other than Arbidos is chilling. Jaden wants to duel against the undefeated pharaoh. His ancient Egyptian deck doesn't stand much of a chance against the elemental heroes. To be fair, he was only undefeated in the past because his servants always let him win. So this will be his first real duel. With Spirit of the Pharaoh and his servants, he manages to take some life points before Jaden summons the effect Clayman. Avian returns from the graveyard, bursts Unitrix from the deck, and thanks to Hero Signal, all can attack directly and decide the duel. Abydos wants to take Jaden with him, but Jaden declines. And just like that, he's gone. Off to sleep in his sarcophagus again. Alexis hopes that her brother will finish his nap soon and regain his memories. The perfect moment to kidnap her again to the abandoned dorm and duel with another Shadow Rider. The friends find Atticus on the ground, who knows where Alexis is, and together they set off to support Alexis. But of course, they had to dress Atticus in the Obelisk Blue Jacket first. The next Shadow Rider is none other than Titan. He takes the Shadow Duel literally and shrouds everything in darkness. So he's like Panic 2.0, just not as unfair. Still, his monsters are quite strong and corner Alexis. She's about to give up if she hadn't hurt her brother and gained new courage. Cyberblader on the field, which with its effect cancels all of Titan's effects and ends the duel with one attack. Titan returns to the Shadow Realm and Atticus comes back to himself, remembering a bit and revealing that Professor Banner might be one of the bad guys. The Duel Monster Spirit Day is celebrated, though it's not quite the right time for it, considering it's known that Banner is likely evil and he has disappeared. Regardless, everyone dresses up, and of course, an episode without a duel is unthinkable, which is why Jaden gets to duel against the Dark Magician Girl. Naturally, she plays with Dark Magician Girl and Valkyries, but they honestly look outdated against Jaden's Flame Wingman, even though Cyrus is a traitor and roots for the duel against Jaden. After the duel, Cyrus receives a ghostly kiss on the cheek, and the day comes to an end. The gambler comes to the Duel Academy to duel with Alexis. She accepts because he possesses something that once belonged to her. As one might guess, the gambler relies heavily on luck and coin flips, while Alexis leads with her Cyber Tutu in her first move. In the past, he hustled all students at school, but he couldn't win against Alexis. So he simply stole the cloth from her mother, and has kept it ever since. At least until after the duel, because Alexis finishes off the gambler with a Cyber Prima. Though she claims to love her, she doesn't feel the same. Well, at least she gets her cloth back. Oh yeah, and Professor Banner is still missing. Crawler has to substitute for him in class. Jaden and his friends are excused from class to search for Banner. Chess follows a false lead and the others don't get far either. Until Cyrus finds a marked card. It seems Atticus has been kidnapped again. Alexis follows the perpetrator and ends up dueling with the last Shadow Rider. Although they duel from noon until sunset, Alexis loses, thus losing her key, and she ends up completely in the Great Book that contains everything. The friends search until the evening and find a clue, namely Banner's cat Pharaoh. Then one clue after another leads Chess to also do the 7th Shadow Rider. The problem, Chess doesn't have the heart of the cards on his side either and loses the duel. Thus, all keys are used, except for Jaden's. The Mark of Amnael brings Jaden and the others to the Abundant Dome, where they follow Pharaoh and open a sarcophagus to find Banner's corpse. The 7th Shadow Rider is Amnael. This duel takes it all. For Jaden's key, for Jaden's threats. Duel! With Chaos Distillation, all monsters sent from the graveyard are removed from play, and a few monsters are played that can directly attack Jaden on the next turn. He's also well protected by a trap card that discards monsters of the same attribute. The discarded monster strengthens Amnael's golden homunculus, but thanks to a nice combo and burstinatrix, Jaden destroys all the monsters. And it turns out that Amnael is Professor Banner. Banner discovered a tomb but was sick, so he transferred his soul into a homunculus. Unfortunately, his body is already crumbling, so he needs the sacred beasts to circumvent this somehow. Anyway, back to the duel. They continue in the universe, and Banner fittingly plays cosmic cards like Helios. These are then replaced by Magistus, which looks old against Blade Edge, but it returns stronger than before and can attack again. With the fusion monster Marina, Jaden can attack directly, and it's because of the fusion cards that Banner also sees Jaden as an alchemist. So, of course, this duel also decides the best alchemist. Marina is removed, Magistus comes back even stronger, then is replaced by Helios twice Magistus, who is, of course, even stronger. Now Jaden has neither cards on the field nor in hand. A year at Duel Academy and still the same as before. But no! He's met so many people and experienced so much. Only Miracle Force can help now, summoning Electrum, who shuffles all removed monsters back into the deck, weakening Trice and allowing Jaden to win the duel. Banner is defeated, the friends return. Jaden has passed the final test, and Banner can confidently leave the future of the world in his hands. He gives Jaden the book, his body disintegrates, and Pharaoh chases his soul. Chess has fallen in love with Alexis. He doesn't even want to duel anymore. Just Alexis. But she seems to be with Zane, so he needs Atticus. If Chess can defeat her in a duel, she will surely fall in love with him. His deck is reassembled, Atticus freshens up the cards, and with the spirit keys as leverage, Alexis agrees to the duel. Chess locks down Alexis' entire field with his Ojamas and Ojama King. The 3 Ojamas can't be sacrificed, but they work as ritual offerings. So, not sacrifice for a tribute summon, but for a ritual summon. She destroys the king, and due to the effect, Chess also takes damage from the king's defense. And that's it for Chess. Who cares? The volcano erupts! Jaden managed to protect his key. Well, it doesn't matter, because the keys around Chess's neck are now magically attracted and swallowed by the pillars, revealing the sacred beast cards, which Kagemaru promptly collects to duel Jaden with their power. And right in the first turn, Uria, the brother of Slifer, enters the field. This means trouble for Jaden's trap cards and burstinatrix. Jaden counters with Tempest and Skyscraper to become stronger than Uria and destroy it. But Uria returns as a tribute for a trap and lightens a fire under Tempest, who also returns as a tribute, gets strengthened, destroys Uria again. So Uria returns as a tribute. Skyscraper is gone, replaced by the field spell card Lost Paradise. Furthermore, 3 spell cards are sacrificed to summon Hamon, Ra's brother. And once again, Tempest is gone, with Hamon's effect causing even more damage. Not only that, but the spirit of the other cards slowly fade, transferring to Kagemaru, rejuvenating him. Now he apparently has a 16-pack. Solid, brother. Sacred beasts, what are they compared to Neo Bubbleman, who could destroy Hamon with his water gun? Then he drops Uria's points to 0, also destroying it. But he destroys Neo Bubbleman with a trap card from his hand, bringing back Hamon, and Uria's effect brings him back too. Next, 3 sacrifices are made to summon Raviel, Obelisk's brother. Jaden summons Flame Wingman and plays Banner's card to summon Shining Flare Wingman with a whopping 4600 attack points. Hamon is completely overshadowed. Unfortunately, due to Hamon's effect, Kagemaru takes no damage. Jaden should have taken Raviel or Uria, because now he boosts Raviel to 6000 attack points and would have destroyed Shining Flare Wingman without defusion. The other beasts are also damaged. Backup arrives with Electrum, allowing Banner's card to be fully utilized, boosting Electrum's attack power to 14,500. That's the end of Raviel and thus for Kagemaru. The cards regain their life and Banner's card dissolves. This card was indeed OP. Kagemaru ages again and the beasts are locked away. Thus, the world is saved. The final exam is looming and Chumley must pass it or he will fail for the third time and be expelled from school. However, there's hope. He has won a contest and is offered a job to work personally for Pegasus. Crawler objects since Chumley hasn't passed the exam yet. But if Chumley can beat him in a duel and thereby pass the exam, Crawler won't stand in his way. If he loses though, he will be expelled. So they practice through the night and the duel begins. Ancient Gears versus cards straight out Australia. Initially, the Ancient Gear Golem hits Chumley hard, then he summons his big koala, boosts it and trashes Crawler's machines. Another golem reappears next turn, attacking Chumley hard, but this time he can defeat it with his card and Master of Oz. If only Crawler hadn't played limiter removal to tune his golem and win the duel. But losing doesn't mean Chumley has failed. He put up a good fight, so he passed. And with that, he heads to Industrial Illusions. Zane has achieved the highest score and can choose his opponent for the final exam. Naturally, it can be none other than Jaden Yuki. Jaden is a bit skeptical, and rightfully so, because Zane summons his Cyber End-Dragon right on the first turn. Then there's also Dimension Capsule to add a card to his hand in 2 turns. Jaden shows no mercy, halves the Cyber End-Dragon and boosts his Wild Heart to destroy 1/2. That's countered with Diffusion, but since there are 2 of them, Jaden attacks the second one. All spells and traps are also destroyed and Zane loses 500 life points. That leaves only 3 Cyber Dragons on the field. 1 attack is absorbed, the other 2 hit hard. Wild Heart returns, fuses with Blade Edge to destroy the 3 Cyber Dragons, which Zane retrieves to his deck. With Future Fusion, the Cyber End Dragon is back on the field. Defusion splits them back into 3 normals, which are then fused again with Power Bond. Wild Edge is boosted just enough to survive by the skin of his teeth. With Bubble Man on the field, Zane summons Cybercareen to negate the damage from Power Bond. And after a brief snack break, the duel continues. Jaden retrieves Future Fusion, summoning Rampart Blaster, and with Avian he further builds his defense. Cyber End is supposed to attack Rampart, but it gets split. Elemental Burst, and that's the end of Zane's monster. But then Time Fusion comes into play, preparing to bring Cyber End Dragon back on the field next turn. However, Jaden plays Miracle Fusion for Flame Wingman and fuses for Shining Flare Wingman, reaching 4900 points and destroying Cyber End Dragon. With a trap, the effect is nullified and both draw a card. The exact same card. Zane combines 2 spell cards to bring back and boost Cyber End Dragon. Jaden counters with Battle Fusion, which he counters with another Battle Fusion, amassing 36,900 attack points. But Jaden counters again with Final Fusion, resulting in a draw. And that was the first season of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. At Duel Academy, Crawler is the new headmaster and Bonaparte is the new vice headmaster who want to pick up Asta. But he first goes to Jaden, who immediately wants to welcome him with a shadow game. However, it wasn't Jaden who challenged him, it was Asta who challenged Jaden. And he did it with the remaining cards from the shop. Ojama Yellow isn't much of a help in this situation.
What'd you do? Take lessons from Chaz or something?
One phone call later, Asta gets serious and switches to his Celestial cards. Plus, there are new elemental heroes. Guardian makes his appearance, but doesn't stick around for long. A Tempest Diffusion combo is enough for Jaden to win the duel, and Cyrus finally realizes who Asta is. A star among professional duelists. More duelists arrive, and Crawler and Bonaparte toy with the idea of abolishing Cypher Red just because a Ra Yellow student insulted them. Makes sense. The first official duel is between Chess and an Obelisk Blue student. If Chess wins, he can rejoin Obelisk Blue. Crawler wants to make Chess the new superstar of the school. Although his opponent is puzzled by his Ojamas, there's not much to wonder about when Chess brings out his XYZ Dragon Cannon. His opponent counters with Guilford with a massive sword, but Chess's Ojama Delta Hurricane asses them out. The Ojamas disappear, but they are quickly summoned back, fused into a king and transforms into a Robo King who arrives with some robotic friends to utterly nuke the opponent.
Face it, kid, whether we're wearing blue, yellow, red, or polka dots, you'll always be the same loser, and I'll always be the Chess!
The Slifer's cheer for Chess so much that Crawler decides to let him stay. However, at least Chess gets his own private dorm. Team Magma and Team Aqua's biggest competition, Team Yellow, wins against other students and takes their duel discs. So of course Jay needs to teach them a lesson. He duels their leader, Hustleberry, who uses a Dino deck. Hustleberry is actually good enough for Obelisk Blue, but he just doesn't have the right connections. Just plenty of vitamin D, as his dinos give Jaden a tough time. However, in the end, they get extinct against Jaden's heroes. We even get to see Wild Wingman, who, along with Blade Edge and Diffusion, wins the duel and gains Hustleberry's loyalty. Hustleberry gives up his team and wants to surf and live with Jaden. This causes quite a bit of trouble, especially when Alexis decides she wants to move into the Slifer Red dorm too. Of course, she will get into Chess's new dorm. Why? Because Crawler wanted to make her the new school star by having her duel in a dress while singing. Of course, she wasn't interested in that. So Crawler's next star-making attempt is aimed at Cyrus. Cyrus, plagued by self-doubt and fear, overcomes his anxieties with Hustleberry's help and bravely faces off against an Obelisk Blue student, a female weevil with an insect deck. She tries to sneak some monsters to drop Cyrus to 0, which shakes his confidence.
I hear this voice in my head telling me to give up because I'm not good enough.
You're not good enough, dork, so just give up.
See, there it is.
Luckily, he regains his composure and wins with his Jumbo Drill. And he does it without Power Bond, which he had previously given to Chess. Cyrus wins the duel and gets promoted to Ra Yellow. But they don't get rid of him. He just adopts the new style to show off to the other Slifer noobs where he still sleeps. Jaden gives Bastion an idea when the news arrives that Zane will soon duel Aster Phoenix. Zane is apparently sticking with his Obelisk Blue drip. The stadium fills up and the duelists enter, cheered on by their fans. Chess is a bit envious of the female fans, even though they are clearly minors. Nobody can tell me otherwise. Aster starts off with Elemental Hero Avian, Jaden's usual opening move. Zane counters with his usual move, attacking with Cyber Dragon, but the attack is absorbed. Phoenix Enforcer hits the field, immune to battle destruction, taking out Cyber Dragon. Cyber Twin Dragon with Power Bond comes in to take some life points, but not enough. Shining Phoenix Enforcer teases Zane's twin, who then summons Cyber End Dragon. And of course, Aster has a trap card. It boosts his Enforcer, causing Cyber End Dragon to self-destruct, leading to Zane's defeat. In an interview, Aster claims that someone specific has copied his new deck.
And to prove it, I'm challenging this schoolboy. I won't tell you his name, but it rhymes with Schmaden Schmooky.
Wow, this Schmaden copied your deck? Exactly, pretty embarrassing, right? Isn't that right? Schmaden. But how can someone who's been at Duel Academy for over a year and has been playing that deck for so long copy your deck when you just created it for the duel against Zane? Well, didn't you keep that deck secret until then? Well, let's talk about the weather now. Sartorius gives Aster's deck a magic touch before boarding from the sky to Duel Academy and immediately catching a thief. If that isn't fate. The next day, the duel begins. Sartorius, who seems to like the Obelisk Blue style, sees a chance to recruit Jaden if he loses the duel. But things don't look great for him, as Jaden starts strong with the Flame Wingman on his first turn. However, Flame Wingman is quickly taken down by Phoenix Enforcer on the next turn. Jaden retaliates with Tempest, only for it to be destroyed by Shining Phoenix Enforcer. With Miracle Fusion, Jaden summons Shining Flare Wingman, equips him with a spell card and attacks with Skyscraper. Shining Phoenix Enforcer is destroyed, but now he brings out the Destiny Heroes. Monsters he kept secret up until now. Appropriately, the Prison Clock Tower replaces the Skyscraper, and Doomlord's effect sends Shining Flare Wingman away for 2 turns. Rottweiler destroys Doomlord, triggering Destiny Signal.
It's my destiny signal!
That's real original.
Bringing Doomlord back along with some other friends, beating up Jaden a bit. Jaden is in deep trouble. Only a new elemental hero can save him. Enter Necro Shaman.
Don't you want to hear his special ability?
No.
Well, I'm gonna tell you about it anyway.
Thanks to him, Jaden manages to deal some damage. But Asta can't lose any more life points. What can Jaden do against that? Fusion Gate! The clock tower is gone and Dreadmaster takes the field. This was the last card Asta's father designed for industrial illusions before he was kidnapped. And against that, Jaden can only do one thing: lose. His deck explodes, his cards fade, Jaden needs a power nap. Jaden can't duel anymore because he can't see anything on his cards.
Because my lab partner's sister's third cousin said that Jaden can't duel. Please tell me it's just another rumor.
When they said that you hit puberty, that was a rumor.
And without Jaden, there are fears that they will shut down the Slifer Red Dorm.
We may be 1 man down, but we're 5 men strong. Well, 4 men and a lovely lady. Alright, 3 men, a lady, and Cyrus.
Alexis is still supposed to sing. To convince her, Atticus has to beat her in a duel. It looks pretty promising at first, but then he makes a ridiculously stupid mistake and fucks up. Alexis wins and Crawler's idea gets dumped. Jaden still can't see his cards and Wing Kuribo isn't showing up either. So Chess tries to motivate him. Doesn't work. Sartorius arrives at Duel Academy while standing on top of an airplane. Since Asta is fully booked, Sartorius wants to recruit another duelist. Someone like Chess. And to impress him, he challenges him to a duel without using a duel disc, just a table, and employs My Valentine's strategy, minus the perfume, using real psyche abilities. I would be totally impressed if the holograms appeared while playing on a table. Chess gets serious and brings out Armed Dragon level 10. He manages to reduce Sartorius to 100 life points until Fate strikes, combined with the ultimate Talk no Jutsu, and Chess loses the duel and his duel spirits. So he joins the Society of Light and gets new clothes. Oh, and Jaden steals the boat and leaves the island. Jaden absolutely trips out on the sea with a bit too much of ayahuasca and ends up in space. On a beach. With a dolphin man on legs. Who explains the balance of the universe to him. Darkness and light must remain in balance. Thus, the Society of Light is a threat to the entire universe. Jaden finds a new deck and duels a light robot. He starts to understand that the capsule is from Kyber Corp and the cards are the ones he created as a kid. Pretty weak at first, they remind Jaden of his younger self and gets new motivation. Aqua Dolphin and Neo's appearance. With them, he not only wins the duel, but also regains his love for dueling. And now, after the micrograms wear off, he wakes up back at Duel Academy with a new deck and new allies. The Slifer Reds finally get something tasty to eat if they win a duel. If not, they go back to the raw yellow dorm. So it's time for Hustleberry to put the soup on ice. What can food do against dinos? Whether it's carrots, potatoes, onions, or a chef, nothing the raw yellow leader tries can stand against Hustleberry's Tyranno Infinite. Hustleberry and the others stay in the Slifer dorm and everyone gets something to eat. And Jaden, he's lost somewhere in the forest. But who is Jaden's best friend? Cyrus or Hustleberry? Alexis knows the answer. Of course, this will be settled in a duel. Even though Cyrus knows Hustleberry's tactics, Hustleberry manages to give him a tough time. Luckily, Cyrus' strategy is still quite fresh and his deck is mostly unknown to Hustleberry. Cyrus uses his vehicles to turn Hustleberry's ultimate dino against him, executing a brilliant 9000 IQ move to create an infinite loop, getting the win. Hustleberry realizes that Cyrus is Jaden's best friend because Cyrus searched for Jaden every night, unlike him. So, he doesn't activate his trap and lets Cyrus have the victory. Since Zane lost to Esther, he has lost to 10 more duelists. And today is his next duel. He loses again and gets booed. He's fired, loses everything and is even afraid of dueling. Until he meets Mr. Shroud and starts again in underground fights. These duels are a bit different, with the damage being truly shocking. Against the opponent's asset cards, Zane takes hit after hit, until he realizes his friends have abandoned him, which makes him angry. Finally, he summons his Cyber Ant Dragon, only to lose it immediately. But that's it. The new Zane is furious and plays Overload Fusion, summoning Chimera Tech Overdragon and finishing the duel by attacking 6 times. The duel is decided, the new Zane is born, and with a new outfit, he duels his way back to the top. Jaden is extremely hungry. Good that Wheeler the monkey is there to save him. While hallucinating about one duel after another, a few bananas and some water get him back to half normal. So he moves on in the wrong direction. The Slifer Red Dorm is finally said to be demolished. To ensure it happens, Alexis must duel Esther. If Alexis loses, that's the end of the dorm. The opponent is none other than Esther Phoenix, who's drawn in by Bonaparte, who tricked him with promises about his father's killer. But just before the duel starts, Jaden arrives. He has some new cards he wants to test against Esther. Esther starts with his Destiny heroes from the last duel, while Jaden uses the new cards no one has ever seen before. Aquaneos destroys Dreadmaster, but then returns to the deck, leaving Jaden wide open. A effect Jaden wasn't familiar with. I know, bro, reading card effects can be tough as hell. With Water back in the deck, it's Wind's turn. With Hummingbird, Jaden boosts his life points and, along with Bubbleman, deals some damage to Esther. Esther counters with Dark City and Double Dude. Wind is gone and Fire takes the field. Fire gets extinguished and Bubbleman is destroyed too. Next, Jaden brings out Hero Kids and another member from Captain Kid's crew, who face off against Dogma. But with Neospace and Contact Fusion, Flareneers can't take him down. He manages to protect himself and weaken Flareneers in the next turn, but he still loses. Jaden wins the duel, breaks the fate and defeats the undefeated pro duelist. Esther begins to mistrust Sartorius and is unsure about the Society of Light. To find out more, he stays enrolled on the island. Crawler doesn't want the Slifer Dorm to be demolished, but Bonaparte does. Of course, this gets settled with a duel. While everyone supports Crawler, Jaden just wants to see a great game, and chess is for white. The dorm gets demolished each time Crawler loses life points. Makes perfect sense. But Crawler finally manages to take away some of Bonaparte's life points, causing the dorm to be rebuilt, only to be destroyed again. And rebuilt, until Crawler is down to just 100 life points. He then summons the Ancient Gear Engineer, which attacks the toy soldiers and uses its effect to free his golem, switching it to attack mode and ending the duel. So the dorm is saved. Chess duels every Obelisk Blue student, converting them into Obelisk White. Alexis is next. He even duels with his cards face up. After all, he can now see and change the future, anticipating and countering all of Alexis' traps. Atticus encourages her, helping her turn the tide, until it's Chess's turn, in which he summons the level 10 monster and powers it up, making all trap cards ineffective, ending the duel. Alexis is now enlightened and joins the society. Obelisk White isn't being accepted, but if they can defeat Jaden and demolish the Slifer Red Dorm, Bonaparte might be able to turn things around. Here comes the shoot 'em up world champion Lorenzo, who of course uses a shoot 'em up themed deck. Thanks to a spell card, spaceship after spaceship appears on the field, but Grand Mole sends them back to his hand. With Nears, Jaden ends the duel, and Lorenzo is subjected to even more brainwashing, ending up worse than before. Chess has developed a new trap. Jaden heads into a cave where he duels Duelist X, who is even higher ranked than Esther Phoenix. This hitman turned lawyer is undefeated and feared because he doesn't just aim to win. He destroys his opponent's deck, making them lose their will to duel. His strategy revolves around deck destruction, forcing his opponents to discard cards and skip turns until they have almost no cards left. Jaden's strongest cards are gone, but Glowmorse manages to attack directly, only to be sent back to the hand. Glowmorse is then summoned by the opponent as Jaden brings out Electrum. With Sparkman and no cards left in his deck, his opponent appears invincible. But Duelist X has to send 2 cards to the graveyard for each attack. Using Sparkman, Electrum and Diffusion, Jaden manages to leave his opponent with just 2 cards, then summons Electrum again for a final attack, depleting Duelist X's deck and defeating him with his own strategy. Sartorius' next target, Hustleberry. If Sartorius wins, Hustleberry will be converted. If he loses, Chess and Alexis will return to normal. His strategy involves a lot of luck-based moves, which isn't really luck for him since he can foresee everything. But what happens if you cross a Tyranno with a tank? A Dino tank that almost drops Sartorius! Well, almost. His gambling luck is too strong, he counters, leading to Hustleberry's loss. He lost the duel, but doesn't become part of the society. He's immune to Sartorius' brainwashing because he has a dinosaur bone inside him, which gives him dino genes, making him stronger than other humans. So he joins the Duel Academy as an exchange student in the 3rd year. With the leader of the society on board, he wants to decide the destination of the school trip, but Jaden has a say in this, which will be settled in a duel. Not against Sartorius though.
You see, gentlemen, as a new student here, I'd rather not stand out.
Then get a new haircut.
But against Princess Rose. Tadpoles turn into death frogs, which can attack Jaden directly without protection and then fuse to swallow even a muckball man. They are useless after they defuse, so they are sacrificed to summon another frog, bringing all the frogs on top. But Chess has something to complain about. Rose can't see dual spirits. The frogs are just frogs, not princes. To her, they are still princes, so it's okay with Jaden too. It doesn't bother him much, since he shows Avian's magic tricks and makes her life points disappear. With Jaden choosing the destination, they head to Domino City. Sartorius and his followers decide to go independent, just like everyone else is on their own. Esther talks to Bastion, who hasn't really done much in this season, which might explain why the Society of Light hasn't approached him yet. His friends have also left, heading to Solomon, who guides them through Domino City until he gets kidnapped again. Chess of course knows where he is, leading to a tag duel between Hustleberry and Cyrus against Kuzan Wish Edition and Eneru Wish Edition, each playing with their respective monarchs. Not just that, but they also use reflector cards, making them nearly impossible to attack. Fortunately, their teamwork is poor. Chess heads to the cave where Sartorius' sisters is said to live. Meanwhile, Sartorius visits Kaiba, aiming to borrow Kaiba land. Jaden finds Solomon and meets Esther. Together, they head to the duel between Cyrus and Hustleberry. Their opponents still don't see themselves as a team. Cyrus and Hustleberry aren't much of a team either, attacking each other. But it's all part of their strategy to get out of the tight spot. By looking at each other's hands, they manage to coordinate without speaking. Hustleberry tries to finish off his opponent, but fails. Then Cyrus borrows his dinosaur to fuse it with his robot, leading to Mirror of Duality being played, countering their move. Cyrus and Hustleberry are defeated, just like Thunder. Since Frost won, he was able to capture Cyrus and Hustleberry to take them to Kaiba land. Mission accomplished, Sartorius' sister traps them in cards. Their next two are up as Jaden runs into Atticus and relax for a bit.
Chin up. So your friends got captured by an evil psychopath who's plotting world domination. Not to worry, that happened to me several times.
They invite two enemies to eat, who initially duel for fun, until they realize it's Jaden. One gets turned into a card and put into the deck, and the duel begins. It's tough with the Earth Monarch, but not just him, he fuses all four monarchs, nearly defeating Jaden. However, Jaden turns the tables, boosting his Nears to 5400 and winning the duel. T-Bone is defeated, meaning he is trapped in a card by Serena. She then invites Jaden and Esther to Kaiba land. Together they enter the virtual reality, where they find Cyrus and Hustleberry. Serena conducts the final test to determine if Esther or Jaden is the chosen one. A tag duel between Esther and Jaden against Serena, and Serena begins. Jaden's Flame Wingman gets blocked. Esther's Doomlord is countered, but his other monster breaks through. Now it's Jaden's turn to show his skills. He summons Necroshade and Blade Edge, separates Necroshade and attacks with all he got. Both sides seem evenly matched, so who is the chosen one? To find out, they use the full moon. The Dark Creator is summoned, along with mirrors that multiply him tenfold. She clears the opponent's field, but can't attack directly. They need to find a way to get rid of the indestructible Dark Creator, with an unbreakable army and 2000 life points against nothing and just 200 life points. Black Cats bring bad luck, only for the opponent. Jaden copies their creator, creating his own army, and fuses the Panther with Nias to negate its effect. He attacks the creator, destroying all the tokens. Time for Nias to end the duel and pass the test. Even Esther is impressed, and it turns out both have passed. Serena reveals that her brother has been influenced by a card and asks them to save him. Serena sacrifices herself, staying in the cyberspace to rescue her brother while the others try to help him in the real world. House cleaning at Duel Academy. A doll goes missing and a new one appears, seducing Hustleberry. At night, she shows her true face, planning to send everyone into darkness after a duel. Luckily, she duels Jaden first, who isn't much for puppet shows. Okay, the doll damages herself quite a bit to summon a puppet chimera, which always grows stronger by sending 2 puppet parts to the graveyard. Jaden just destroys it repeatedly until she has no puppet parts left in her deck to bring her back. Checkmate with Wing Kuribo level 10, destroying the chimeric doll and exorcising the evil puppet spirit. Alexis is being stalked by Bob, but she suspects Jaden instead, leading to a duel. If Jaden wins against Bob, Alexis won't report anything. If he loses, he must join the Society of Light. Bob's deck is themed around a game show, exploiting Jaden's weakness in theoretical questions while posing challenges in luck and physical tasks, which Jaden handles well. Though Jaden could have won the duel quickly, he chooses not to rely on prior knowledge, preferring to succeed through his own efforts. He confuses his opponent and finishes the duel with Flame Wingman. Chess has converted all Ra Yellows to the light. Everyone except Bastion, which bothers him. To prove himself, Bastion devises a strategy and assembles a deck, then challenges Chess. He has beaten Chess before, so it shouldn't be too difficult. Chess's deck consists of B-Trend cards, which, while boring, can deal significant damage to Bastion. Bastion's robots also pack a punch. But then he faces a tough decision. If he wins, he proves his strength, potentially ending the Society of Light. If he loses, he shows his worth by sacrificing himself for the organization. So he deliberately does not activate his trap, loses and joins the Society of Light. After the duel, Chess doesn't discard those boring insects, but his Ojamas. Yeah, he's clearly beyond help. Cyrus doesn't like Zane's new image and his ruthless dueling style. Zane demolishes one opponent after the other without any regard or respect, which even catches the attention of the former headmaster, who decides to duel him to bring him to his senses. After all, Zane was his best student, the one he gifted the Cyber Ant Dragon. However, there's also a dark deck hidden somewhere. After Zane betrays his Cyber Ant Dragon and wins the duel, he takes the dark deck to become even stronger. Shepard throws a medal at him, qualifying Zane to compete in an upcoming tournament featuring the world's best players. No longer needed at the temple, Shepard returns to the Duel Academy and announces the big tournament. Participants must duel daily to win other medals. Of course, no one wants to duel Jaden, while Cyrus is busy taking on all challengers. With Optimus Prime, Cyrus scores his first victory. Hustleberry also wins with his Black Tyranno, as does Bastion. And Jaden only wants to duel pros. The first pro arrives, but is quickly snatched by Sartorius, a prince who bets his satellite machines against Sartorius, and loses before Sartorius even takes his turn. Now Sartorius owns the satellite, giving him the power to control the world. Yeah, this can't end well. And still, no one wants to duel Jaden. Pegasus shows up, who reveals that a copy of Ra has been stolen and tasks Jaden with taking it down. Chumley also gives Jaden a field spell card.
Non-criminals get to go first!
And then it's already happening in the first turn, as 3 Ra Yellow students are sacrificed to summon Ra. To control it, the thief doesn't need a Millennium item, just a homemade spell card. Ra, bound by this spell, sheds a tear. And seriously, 4Kids even added a tier. But why does he do this? Because Chumley's cards designs were chosen over his. And speaking of him, Jaden uses Skyscraper too, freeing Ra from its bindings. With Diffusion, Ra is weakened, allowing Jaden to save his ass. Jaden summons Ra to his side, boosts it with his life points, Nias and Glomos, showing how hot Ra's breath can be. And despite all of that, the thief isn't fired and they take off. Finally, after all this time, someone challenges Jaden. Orlando, a professional duelist and theater artist with a fitting themed deck. Although Jaden is impressed by all the effects, he feels the game lacks fun. Since you can't have fun without Flame Wingman, who doesn't stay long enough to continue the attack. With his dragon, Orlando almost reaches the final, but Jaden is one step ahead, enjoying the game without needing a grand show. He still delivers a spectacular performance with Shining Flare Wingman, and even though his monsters are stopped, he uses Quick Summon to sacrifice 2 monsters and ends the duel with Nears, winning the medal. Chess duels someone with an impressive number of medals, as Chess himself has a ton of them.
You must have won those from challenging third-rate losers.
You've got a point there. Guess that explains why I challenged you.
Chess wins against the professional duelist with much better cards than he used against Bastion. It's the perfect time for Chess to challenge Jaden to a duel set for the next day. Despite his new cards and the Society of Light, he can't get his Ojamas out of his mind. Oh, and Bastion has bleached his hair.
Yeah, as if. I like my hair. Plus, that stuff will bleach your brain.
Fine, Chaz. A simple no would have sufficed.
Chess starts doubting Sartorius and the Society, so his friends got his back. Professor Banner emerges from Pharaoh, leading Jaden to the Ojamas. With them in his deck, Chess might finally come to his senses. He even gets his old jacket on top. Chess uses his White Knights, while Jaden uses his Elemental Heroes. And Ojamas. Unfortunately, the Ojamas struggle against the White Knights, and Jaden keeps losing life points to keep the Ojamas on the field. But with Delta Hurricane, he destroys the White Knights. And now, as the normal ones are gone, the Lord takes the field. With 1 Ojama gone, the other 2 fuse into Ojama Knight, blocking 2 of Chess's monster zones and leading to a knightly battle that proves fruitless. He sacrifices them to refresh his life points and bring 3 back in return for some life points. Unfortunately, they disappear quickly again, with 1 brought back for 500 life points. Then, finally, Chess comes to his senses. Though he doesn't remember much, the old Chess is back. He brings his Ojamas onto the field and, like Jaden, keeps summoning them back to unleash Delta Hurricane, destroying himself. Oh shit! Alexis is still in the Society! Chess can't let that slide and promises to rescue her. Zane arrives on the island and joins the tournament, just like Atticus, hoping to duel Zane back to his senses. He attacks directly with Red Eyes on his first turn, but Night's Road's darkness starts to take over piece by piece. This is all part of Atticus' plan to meet Zane in the darkness and pull him out. However, Zane uses Power Wall, dumping almost his entire deck to protect himself. Night Shroud re-emerges, but even he can't stand a chance against the Dark Zane, who defeats him. The medal is Zane's, but he doesn't even want it.
So then, does that mean I can keep the medal?
And Cyrus resolves to duel his brother and save him from the darkness. Sartorius continues his struggle to plunge the world into absolute darkness. Diamond is back and even defeats a professional. Belovsky is next, winning against another pro. Jasmine and Mindy, unfortunately, can't beat a pro together. Alexis steps in for them and wins the duel with just 1200 life points left, without even using Sartorius' White Veil card. She, too, is slowly coming back to her senses. Then the Grim Reaper duelist joins the tournament. Why is he called that? Because he wields one of the 7 legends of the North Academy, the supposedly sealed legendary Grim Reaper. After countless losses, he made a pact with the Reaper to finally start winning duels. He lets Jaden play 4 cards, only to destroy them all with Destruction Draw, dealing 4000 damage. Thankfully, Jaden manages to save himself. Flame Wingman allows Jaden to turn up the heat a bit, but when the Grim Reaper returns even stronger in the next round, he reuses Destruction Draw. Thanks to Jaden, the Grim Reaper duelist trusts his cards again and draws exactly what he needs without using the Reaper's ability. Jaden then uses emergency provisions to survive and powers up Nears, defeating the Grim Reaper duelists. The pact is broken and the day is saved once again. Rumors spread that Crawler and Bonaparte have been fired because Duel Academy hasn't been doing well under their leadership. Pegasus arrives just in time and offers to hire them if they can beat him together in a duel. The one with the higher life points will get a higher position in his company, pitting them against each other. They even start to attack each other, but there's no room for internal conflict as Pegasus is more than enough. With some encouragement from Jaden, they finally become a team, even protecting each other. Pegasus turns the Ancient Gear Golem into Toon Ancient Gear Golem, defeating them both. However, they passed the test because they worked as a team. And it turns out they were never actually fired, so they stay at the Duel Academy. Sartorius' good side reaches out to Jaden and Asta, giving them the key to the satellites. In response, the evil side of Sartorius urges Alexis to duel Jaden and reclaim the key, getting a spell card from Atticus as Chess realizes he's the one who dragged Alexis into this mess. He also gives Jaden a card and the duel begins. Chess's card is played right away, the Black Ojama. If he can't manage to get her back, then I don't know either. Alexis's new ice cards put a freeze on things, while Atticus's card is destroyed before it can be used. Kuzan's theme deck is tougher than expected. With her icy stare, Alexis continues to freeze Jaden's cards, strengthens her army and even using Sartorius' secret weapon, the White Veil. Jaden, however, quickly dispels it with his mini army. And what's the best way to combat ice? Fire! Flare Nears not only melts her cards, but also her heart, freeing her from the brainwashing after the duel. Now only Sartorius remains. Well, and technically Bastion too, but no one really pays attention to him anymore. Cyrus wins more and more duels to prepare for his match against his brother. I hope he's ready because the duel is about to start. To make it more thrilling, they both wear shock devices, which Cyrus quickly feels. Even Zane gets a jolt, but he barely notices it. And just before Zane's attitude can overwhelm Cyrus, Jaden helps him out by drawing and playing Power Bond, which doesn't do much except summoning a stronger fusion monster on the field. Zane's Cyberdark monsters almost bring Cyrus to zero, but he saves himself with emergency provisions, only to lose after a defusion, knocking Cyrus completely out. Bastion's idol and dueling prodigy, Eisenstein, lures Jaden into a classroom to finally take him down with relative ease. Bastion watches closely. Eisenstein is not to be underestimated. He continually clears Jaden's field, swaps his straw face, damages him only with cards on the field, and then brings out a Brain Dragon to pulverize little Kuribo, impressing Bastion greatly. But Jaden doesn't give up, relies on his luck, rolls some dice and takes another hit. Until Glownears is summoned, destroying the field spell and ending the duel with a direct attack. Eisenstein is impressed and Bastion gets a flash of inspiration. He strips down, in the 4Kids version, to his boxers, in the original version without, and Eisenstein hands over the scepter to Bastion. Bastion declares he will develop his own theory to advance dueling science. Asta is on the hunt for a specific card that might indicate he is his father's murderer. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, a white hole, the opposite of a black hole, released light energy which hit Earth in a massive amount 10 years ago, leading to increased wars, droughts and murders. Whenever this happens, a mad leader rises to power. This event is also linked to Asta's father's death and a card filled with this light energy. The whole tournament was orchestrated to find this card, the Ultimate D. Meanwhile, the Live World Championship duel features Asta's adoptive father, whom Asta rejected a handshake as a child. No wonder he's possessed by an evil force and holds the Ultimate D. Stepfather DD duels a genius with an IQ over 200 who is in prison for horrendous crimes. Despite being a good duelist who can play 5 monsters in one turn and has powerful traps, he meets true evil. DD, having made a pact with the devil to dominate for 10 years, and just as he plays the Ultimate D, the connection breaks. He not only wins the duel, but wrecks everything and kills his opponent. And since he is near Duel Academy, Asta visits him, realizing DD holds the Ultimate D and killed his father. DD broke into Asta's place, stole the Ultimate D, which possessed him, killed Asta's father, and then adopted Asta. He only adopted Asta to Minotaur Police investigations though. Time for revenge with a duel. Asta's first round is impressive, combining cards to get Dogma as set card and the prison clock tower on the field, and dealing 2000 damage right away. But DD counters with the ultimate Destiny Hero card, Plasma, who absorbs Dogma and attacks directly, reducing Asta to just 200 life points. Doomlord is useless against D-Force, as are spell and trap effects. Even his clock is frozen. Asta protects himself, and with his father's last card, the counter for D-Force, he can... Holy shit! The souls of past opponents live in Plasma! Including Asta's father, who reveals Sartorius is the true evil. Plasma is defeated, Asta wins the duel and gains Plasma as he causes an explosion. Shepard rescues Asta by helicopter while DD perishes in the flames, seemingly taking the entire crew with him as the ship explodes. The prince's secretary visits Jaden to explain just how dangerous the key is. If both keys are activated, the satellite will have enough energy to destroy the entire world. To prevent this, Jaden duels the prince, betting the key. It's a bold move, but Jaden's dueling skills make it possible. Actually, it was a very close call, since Jaden nearly loses on the first turn, if not for playing Hero Spirit. Flame Wingman deals first damage, and Shining Flare Wingman seems set to finish the duel. So that's what should happen. The prince activates a trap, creating a new satellite to destroy Shining. Fortunately, Jaden has one last trick, reflecting the attack and defeating the prince. One enemy less. Only one more to go. Asta and Sartorius met at Asta's father's funeral, where Asta just went home with him and got convinced there to serve him as the cards say so. Wasting no time, Asta jumps out of the helicopter, landing in the Obelisk White Room. Lucky, as the helicopter is struck by lightning right after. He quickly finds Sartorius, who reveals how DD contacted him and became possessed by the light. Sartorius demands the key from Asta, who is warned by Jaden, leading, of course, to a duel. Sartorius plays his luck-based strategy, which he can foresee and manipulate. He uses his secret weapon, skipping Asta's next turn to attack directly. He looks like Sartorius, but somehow he isn't quite himself. That is, until he plays the card he warned Asta about years ago. Sartorius' body is possessed by the devil. Good Sartorius possesses Asta's body, giving him enough strength to continue the duel. Meanwhile, inside his mind, Asta philosophizes with good Sartorius in the rain. After some field cleansing from Sartorius, Asta summons Plasma, who absorbs the Wardo and, with D-Force, becomes nearly invincible. The first direct attack fails, but the second hits, though it doesn't defeat Sartorius. Sartorius activates two effects and plays his ultimate card, newly completed, enveloping everything in light and causing Asta to lose the duel. Not only that, but his hair is also bleached. Asta even turns to sand, used as leverage against Jaden. Meanwhile, Chess wages war against the rest of the society. If Jaden doesn't give the key to the statue, Asta will die. So he throws the key precisely into its hand. It would have been really bad if it fell into the lava. Why is there even lava anyway? Of course, who gets the key will be settled with a duel. Nears guards the keys until the duel is over, keeping Sartorius away. Outside, the society is wiped out, and Chess faces an elementary schoolgirl in the tournament final, with their prize being a place in Sliferette. Inside, the duel begins, with Sartorius once again having fate on his side. But Jaden has Shining Flare Wingman. That's pretty convincing. He bombards Sartorius, immediately reducing him to 300 life points. A field spell weakens Nears, sending the keys to the manipulated prince and saving Asta from death by Hasselberry. But the duel isn't over. If Jaden wins, it's the end of the Dark Light. The prince grabs the briefcase, runs out, and activates the satellite. While Chess dominates his duel in just one turn. In the second turn, however, things change. The Mystic Dragon is a tough opponent. Hasselberry attacks the prince, destroys the briefcase, but it's too late. The satellite is armed and ready. Jaden is struggling with the light barrier. Sartorius keeps gaining life points while Jaden's options running out. Jaden refuses to believe in a predetermined fate and takes control. Sartorius' luck runs out and the light barrier fades. For the grand finale, Jaden fuses Nears with Glow Moss, which ends Sartorius' field spell and reduces some life points. Nears should return to the deck now, but he decides to intercept the satellite's solar beam instead, flying away. He's not the only one who wants to stop the satellite, but Hustleberry as well, who transforms into a Super Saiyan. Okay, a Dino, and offers support. Jaden activates Hero, getting Nears and launch a direct attack. Almost done, but then Sartorius summons his strongest monster. Its effect destroys Nears, hitting Jaden hard and leaving Hustleberry alone in space. Bringing Neo Space into play, Jaden fuses Nears with Grand Mole, though it seems ineffective. Then he summons Nears again, who flies to the satellite. With help from Hustleberry and Serena, they destroy it. Back in the duel, Jaden strengthens Nears and annihilates Sartorius' monster and the light once and for all. Their duel ends, Sartorius returns to normal, as do Hustleberry and everyone else. And Chess, he wins his duel with his yellow Ojama. Not only is Sartorius back to his old self and everything restored, but Serena also regains her body. Now Jaden and the others are officially in their 3rd year of high school. Sliferette has Chess back as well as Blair. Additionally, Director Shepard wants to bring in a new teacher to continue pushing Jaden to his limits in dueling. The new Professor Viper doesn't come to Duel Academy alone. He arrives with several students. Meanwhile, Cyrus has been promoted to Obelisk Blue and is looking for Jaden for the opening ceremony. However, Jaden is having a terrible nightmare and meets Jessie, who can also see dual spirits and has transferred to Duel Academy along with 3 other famous students from different schools.
Alright, it's bling time!
Jaden gets to duel Jessie right away, who makes a powerful impression with the Crystal Beasts. Even when Jaden destroys the monsters, they return as crystals. During this time, Professor Viper is trying to summon Muk or something. Muk has turned into an entire room, and Jessie shows that he's not just a Pokemon trainer, but also a master duelist. After all, his Crystal Beasts are so powerful that alongside Yugi, Kaiba, Joey and Asta, he's Pegasus' top favorite. And he proves it right away. Jaden tries to stall, replenishing his life points, only to face all of Jessie's Crystal Beasts. Jaden is cornered. Airnears is summoned, powered up and destroyed. Nah, it was just an illusion by Aizen. Jessie lost because he doesn't have the Rainbow Dragon in his deck yet. Victory for Jaden, both in dueling and in friendship. They seem to be together late into the night, tracking someone, only to run into Axel, who was training. But it wasn't him.
Well, good talking to you.
The next day, every student gets a death belt, which measures their passion and duel data. If their performance is poor, they are out. This sounds great for Jaden and Jessie, but not so much for someone like Cyrus. Director Shepard doesn't mind, thinking it might help Jaden's development into a man. Adrian finds the situation suspicious, so he scans the death belt and starts spying on Viper, who has tasked Axel with pushing Jaden to his limits in a duel. Cyrus shows up just in time, gets taken hostage to lure Jaden and the others. It works, of course. And to make it more exciting, Cyrus will be thrown off a cliff if Jaden doesn't beat Axel quickly. Jaden starts off with his signature move, summoning his Flame Wingman.
Rushing through this as if someone's life is on the line. Oh wait, it is.
Is this all a big joke to you? I'll have the last laugh. Trust me. Easy, Jay.
But fire is Axel's specialty. He not only counters Flame Wingman, but also causes Jaden to lose Burstinatrix. Axel thinks he's got the duel in the bag, but as he becomes impressed by Jaden's skills, he gets so absorbed in the duel that he doesn't even notice Jessie and Hustleberry trying to rescue Cyrus. Axel is so impressed by Jaden that he deactivates the trap for Cyrus and wants to duel him honorably. However, when he realizes he could beat Jaden, he holds back because Viper ordered him to. Jaden wins the duel, the death belt lights up, Axel senses something is off and Jaden takes a nap. And since Cyrus couldn't protect himself, he takes off his Obelisk Blue jacket. To counter his mini heart attack, Axel inhales some Big Macs and orange juice. And after a few snacks, Jaden is also back on his feet and sensing trouble in the air, so everyone, including Jim, goes on a search. Hustleberry's animal instincts kick in, and he ends up dueling Jim.
It's 'cause Hustleberry's part animal, and I'm not talking about his baboon brain.
Of course, fossils don't stand a chance against dinos. Well, if Jim lost his first duel to someone other than Jaden, it would be pretty unimpressive. So the Dinobrooks make short work of Hassleberry, and just like in the previous duel, their death belts activate, draining their energy, forcing them to take a power nap. Viper wants to silence Gecko, reminding him that he needs to duel every day to collect data with the death belt. But Gecko is already onto the whole scheme, just like Axel, who also suspects Viper. After some searching in Viper's office, Axel finds his secret lab. Gecko invites Manny to a duel, offering a flashy prize as bait to corner Viper, who has deliberately increased the energy absorption so that anyone who duels dies. Talking about dueling, Chess gets a bit jealous of Gecko and challenges him to a duel. In true Chess style, with 2 helicopters in the air. This suits Gecko's Steam Deck perfectly, as he plays with the Cloud Deck, which at first doesn't stand a chance against the XYZ Dragon Cannon, which also gets an upgrade. But now things get really dark. Gecko summons his Rain Cloud Michelin Man, which not only inflates itself, but also weakens Chess's monsters. Chess counters this move and almost tastes victory.
Ready, geek? Time to get chased!
However, Chess isn't Jaden and faces a natural disaster that cuts his life points in half. He tries to buy some time with his Ojamas, but they can't save the day and goes for a swim against Gecko. The belt activates and all the duelists fall asleep again. Luckily, Shepard is a good director. Oh wait, he's gone. Axel catches Viper in his not-so-hidden hideout. Viper uses Fist. Axel couldn't care less about gravity, and then he gets struck by the real-life trap card, Trap Hole. Teaching is a lot more relaxed now that all the students are unconscious. With Shepard gone, there's no way to remove the death belts without Viper, unless someone chops off their hand. Fortunately, Gecko fakes his weakness, as we would pretend for not going to school, and tells the remaining conscious students about Viper's possible location. They follow the lead, while Gecko puts on his scouter and continues his Metal Gear Solid activities.
Well, insert dangerous spy music here.
As the others arrive in the basement of the experimental lab and continue searching separately, Gecko turns off the lights. This doesn't make Yubel's contact with Jaden any less creepy.
You're it!
Jim and Crocogirl takes a fucking tiger. Alexis falls into a trapdoor and Jaden duels Professor Stein, who knows where Viper is hiding, but will only open the door if Jaden beats him in a duel. And since the professor absolutely hates Jaden for always sleeping in class, he now takes the opportunity. He doesn't care about the heart attack risk because of the belts. Although Stein takes more and more damage, he keeps stealing Jaden's monsters one by one. Alexis's pit fills with water, the tiger gets scared by a skeleton, and Jaden feels the wrath of an angry professor. The professor only sided with Viper because he was a dedicated pro-duelist who couldn't continue due to an illness and couldn't understand why Jaden approached things so half-heartedly, infecting others with his attitude. This triggered him, pushing him to the dark side. Viper calls in, saying that if Jaden wins, Alexis will drown. If he loses, his energy will be drained by the death belt. So there's only one thing left to do.
Look! In the sky! It's a bird! It's a plane! It's a hero signal!
Sparkman is summoned, destroys Burstinatrix, only to take her place. Jim and Crocogirl save Alexis, freeing Jaden from holding back. The professor makes a suicide move, trying to drag Jaden down with him, but while Jaden manages to protect himself, Stein falls into the depths and presumably dies. Jaden wakes up after a bit of nightmare fuel and Jesse steps in to challenge a dual spirit hunter who is capturing more beasts. These capsules aren't normal. They drain the monster's energy until they die. Jesse's cards keep getting captured, causing him to lose significant life points. Trapper wants to use all this energy to enter an intermediate dimension to capture the Rainbow Dragon. Of course, Jesse can't let that happen and starts his attack. It's so strong that Trapper has to blackmail him with the card to save himself. Trapper stole the card from a little boy, which Jesse wanted to return, preferably in one piece. Now Jesse has to decide, Mr. Bean or Pegasus. Luckily, Jaden, who minored in Tarzan, manages to free Beanman from Trapper, allowing Jesse to play Pegasus. Oh no, he's captured. Or rather, he was. All the crystal beasts return to their owner and bring Trapper's life points down to 0, dragging him into the Shadow Realm by the destroyed dual spirits. Axel escapes from his trap, reuniting with the group. Only one duel remains to achieve Viper's goal. Viper wanted to duel Jaden, but Gecko steps in to fistfight him. Jaden and the others can only move forward thanks to Axel, while Gecko reaches his final destination. Although he could hold his own against him, Viper gains magical powers and smashes Gecko against the wall. There, Gecko meets Yubel, who digs into his mind and tries to manipulate him. Elevated to the roof, it's time for Jaden to duel Viper and his Vipers. Perfect timing to summon a new hero, Plasma Vice, who can deal some damage. If only those snakes weren't so poisonous. And actually, Viper isn't inherently evil. He was a part of a special unit on a mission where all his comrades died. He was offered a chance to bring back his adopted son if he just followed the commands of a severed arm. Viper adopted the boy as a baby and gave him some cards, which the wind blew away. And as the boy chased them, a truck wanted to see him from up close. But enough energy could bring his son back. The realness of this power becomes clear when the ground turns into a hentai scene and real snakes appear from nowhere. Speaking of snakes, the leader is destroyed. But it doesn't stay gone for long and counterattacks. Things look grim, but Wild Edge will turn the tides. Or maybe make it worse. The king is gone, but no, the goddess takes the field, destroying Wild Edge and threatening to defeat Jaden with a snake attack in 3 turns. Even though she's hard to overcome anyway with her 3000 attack points. The duel is so intense that Yubel gets captivated, giving Gecko a chance to escape. Another new hero appears, elemental hero Darkbright. He weakens the goddess enough to destroy her, but she comes back next turn to destroy Darkbright. Jaden is losing hope. But Jesse encourages him to play Fifth Hope, drawing new cards and summoning some new Spatians. With Contact Fusion, Magmaniers is summoned, destroying the goddess and winning the duel. Though victorious, the severed arm reappears, grabs Viper and sends Jaden and his friends into the desert. Outside, the world is going crazy. Axel has survived, the dual spirits are real, Crowder gets kidnapped by a harpier and is rescued by Pegasus. Yet everything seems normal at Duel Academy. There they run into Chess again, but Gecko has been persuaded by the arm and tries to help it. Inside there's a crisis meeting, while outside they face more harpiers, attack them and pick up Bastion, who ended up in another dimension during an experiment. This has also caught the attention of Director Shepard, Kaiba and Pegasus. The arm has broken free, taken over a student and scratched Blair, who instantly develops a fever as a result. Side quest unlocked. Jaden, Jesse, Gecko, Jim and Axel set off to find some medics in a submarine. Along the way they avoid monsters, lay down some GPS markers, overcome dangers and duel a monster. So just another typical Monday morning. Jesse wins the duel pretty quickly. They gather what they can in the submarine, Jesse takes control of some scorpions and they manage to free the submarine from the sand, then trek back on foot. The Duel Academy becomes a fortress. Guards are posted outside to protect it, while inside Bastion works on a solution and Chess oversees the food supply. Muscle manipulates few people and sends them against Chess, but Chess finally gets to win again. Even on his first turn. But they get some support, so the Death Belt keeps weakening him from duel to duel.
Ha! The only thing on the menu today is a 1 pound well-done butt-kicking.
This is how they gain more allies, dueling until the energy runs out and they become manipulable. Miss Fontaine barricades a sliding door and Chess becomes one of the zombies along with Cyrus, forcing Jaden and the others to flee. The Winged Kuriboh distracts the zombies while Jaden and the new group crawl through the ducts. Gecko stays behind first, then Jim, as Miss Fontaine manages to defeat one and almost analyze the deck before more arrive. Axel is the next to provide the distraction, but they are too late. Miss Fontaine has also turned to the dark side and Jaden decides to handle her personally. She's much better than expected, making Jaden sweat, only to be brought down to 0 in a single turn. GG. Jesse saves Blair, Miss Fontaine and the others are still alive and want to keep dueling, so they retreat to the gym with the others. Like in a zombie apocalypse, the remaining students barricade themselves in the gym. They are demoralized, have almost no food and are up against a demon. Things don't look good, especially with the beta students losing it due to the food shortage. 3 of them try to steal food from the pantry, but end up in the library with Marcel. With a little bribery, he convinces them to join his side by turning them into Power Ranger monsters using a fusion card. Jaden gets a brief break while Jesse, Jim and Axel take over. Jesse lands a direct hit, but Jim and Axel take some blows first. When Jesse's opponent finally breaks the silence, he drops Jesse down to 1000 life points without even playing a monster. Jim's situation quickly worsens while Axel hurriedly chops away the opponent, taking him down as quickly as possible as Jaden and a few others deal with Marcel in the academy.
Why are you leaving? Because I won. This is the real surprise. When this trap is played, you lose 1,000 of your life points once you draw a card.
Jim is the time detective, sending his monster into the past to end his opponent. Jesse is left, who uses his ruby to summon his other crystal beast and make a comeback. That's it for the 3 fused enemies. They move on to Marcel, who has gone outside and is confronted by Jaden, Blair and Bonaparte, who turns out to be the father of the real Marcel. And before they know it, Marcel knocks open the ground to get to the sacred beasts. Down they go, hunting for Marcel. But first, Jaden has to get past Zombie Chess and his Vorse Rider, who shows no mercy. In the original, he doesn't have a glowing arm, of course. Dr. Eisenstein calls in with a solution to escape the dimension. But first, the duel must be finished. Flame Wingman takes revenge on the Vorse Rider, but it gets defused, putting Jaden in a bit of a bind. They can only escape the dimension with the help of the Rainbow Dragon, which Pegasus and Director Shepard are currently flying to. Oh, and with Grand Nears, Jaden defeats Chess and can finally chase after Marcel. Just as Jaden is about to catch Marcel, Gecko shows up looking for trouble. So they duel over the 3 sacred beasts. Gecko almost wins in the first round. He is such a great leader and such an incredible person that his stepsister wants to prevent the excavation of the Rainbow Dragon. Yeah, no joke. She wants to stop the excavation because she believes he's too good for the life he's living. But she gets overpowered, so the plan goes up in smoke. Just like the duel. Marcel might have won. Not really, but could have. Maybe. So he declares victory anyway and grabs the sacred beasts. Meanwhile, the others start a Zoom meeting on the tennis court where Jesse is supposed to duel Zane to generate enough energy to revive the Rainbow Dragon. Marcel gets away, so Jaden heads to his friends at the tennis court. Pegasus has created the Rainbow Dragon card, which is being transferred as the duel begins. Zane doesn't hold back at all. On his first turn, he summons his Cybertech Over Dragon and soon his Cyber End Dragon with Future Fusion. Bonaparte saves Jaden's skin and stays behind so Jaden can reach the tennis court. Hazelberry and Axel keep the zombies at bay outside the door, as Jesse brings his crystals to the field just as Zane summons his Cyber End Dragon. Pimp my Cyber End Dragon and attack! But Jesse manages to block the attack. The energy from this attack and counter releases enough power to open the portal, through which a rocket carrying the Rainbow Dragon is sent. Their connection breaks as zombies breaks in and Jaden gets the others out. Jaden feels a bit pessimistic about dueling Marcel because he only defeated the Sacred Beasts last time with Banner's special cheat code card. Jesse must step up with his Rainbow Dragon. Meanwhile, Jaden needs to fight through the zombie horde with backup. The duel begins with Blair as the cheerleader. Jesse jumps into the capsule and awakens the Rainbow Dragon. He quickly goes to support Jaden, who desperately needs it. Marcel throws all the sacred beasts into the graveyard while protecting himself from all of Jaden's attacks and even dealing damage. Then a copy of Hamon appears on the field, roasting some more of Jaden's life points. The zombies are defeated and Jesse reaches Jaden, making Marcel quite jealous. Perfect timing to double Marcel's life points and let Jesse join the fun. He quickly encounters Raviel but manages to fend him off. First it's just the copy, but then Marcel summons all 3 sacred beasts. Jesse and Jaden are quite excited about this, and rightfully so, as the Rainbow Dragon is smacked to the field on the next turn. It makes a decent impression, but Jaden's Chaos Nears is more effective, destroying Udia. However, he comes back to join the other 2. Marcel's body is rejected, as Yubel is finally awakened. A card from Jaden's past, who has always protected him until he sent her into space. She engages in a draw with the Rainbow Dragon, which stays behind, allowing the others to return to the real world. Everyone is back, except Jesse, just as he said. They celebrate that everything is back to normal. Even Marcel and Bonaparte are reunited. Everyone is somewhat happy, except Jaden. He realizes Yubel came because of him, and she seems like a worthy final opponent for Zane. Jaden now only can think about bringing Jesse back. But he can't do it alone, so his friends are ready to help. A portal starts to open, and with the help of their monsters, they stabilize it. Together, they generate enough energy to open the portal, pulling everyone around into the other dimension. There, everyone sticks together until Jaden, Bastion and Axel encounter Tanya. In this digital world, weak monsters are forced to work. But Jaden can't stand it and challenges a guardian to a duel where everything is on the line. If he loses in this world, it's game over for Jaden. And he almost loses, but Kuribo saves his ass and with an upgrade takes the win. Meanwhile, Axel uses the time to cut off the power, sparking a rebellion among the workers. Before leaving, there are some final words about Jaden being the true king of this world and that he should claim his throne. After passing through a truly gigantic door, a comet flies by and Jim gets caught up in it. They find themselves in a ruined city and meet a little boy being attacked by a monster. Jaden steps in to duel. Hazelberry wants to take over, but since losing means death, Jaden insists on doing it himself. Though a bit shaken, he manages to win. Reinforcements arrive, so they flee to a hideout with the boy and a knight. The boy's village was suddenly transported to this dimension and attacked. Unfortunately, none of them has seen Jesse, so they have to wait until the comet in the sky disappears, as the monsters only come out under its light. The boy's father escapes captivity and manages to say with his last breath where the others are being held, including a stranger. Now they have their next goal. But since the comet is still there, nobody wants to go outside. Nobody except Jaden, who is of course followed by his friends. In a prison camp, he finds what he thinks is Jesse, but it's not really Jesse. This lookalike was left behind because he wasn't a duelist. When the enemies launch a surprise attack and Jesse 2.0 got pixelated, Jaden challenges the leader to a duel, taking it very seriously. But the leader isn't a pushover, playing the Devourer to aggressively cut Jaden down. His captive friends aren't much help either. Within just 2 turns, Jaden's life points drop to 700. The knight shows his skills, cheating his way into Jaden's deck, powering him up and activating an effect to destroy the Devourer, ending the duel. The leader explodes but shoots out few balls, making Jaden's friends feel pessimistic as the knight speaks his final words. On their continued search, Jaden duels one opponent after another, which frustrates the others as they feel useless. After finding a card, they ride chocobos to the next clue. Finally, the friends get to do something. 4 of them fall when the markers manipulate their emotions and they encounter 2 opponents. Without dueling, they get knocked out and brought to the king. They were going to take Cyrus too, but he refuses to let go of Karoo. At their destination, the others realize Chess and the rest aren't with them anymore. Everyone except Jaden goes to search for them. Jaden heads to the castle, hoping to find Jesse. Surprise, it's a trap! He has to duel the king to get more information, reuniting with Chess and the others, who are unfortunately captured and controlled by the king's seal. Now, each time the king loses life points, one of Jaden's friends gets trapped in the book. To avoid harming his friends further, Jaden is left unable to take action. Cyrus is picked up by Axel and Jim, who head back to Jaden to offer him mental support. Jaden needs it as he's really struggling. He tries to stay defensive, but is forced to attack, causing 4 of his 5 friends to be absorbed, enabling the king to summon Rainbow. With his friends already gone, Jaden can finally strike back. But Rainbow is an incredibly strong monster, awakening the beast within Jaden, leading him to unlock the Golden Sharingan. He fights not just for himself, but for his friends. A powerful punch from Niels takes down the king, but also seems to doom Chess and the others, and Jesse appears to be dead as well. Axel and Gecko abandon him, pushing Jaden to embrace his dark side and become the ruler of this world, the Supreme King. Cyrus has a pleasant dream, wakes up, saves Ojama Yellow and decides to move on from Jaden, believing Jaden only thinks of himself, even at the expense of his friends. To forget him completely, he throws his dual disc as far as he can. This turns out to be a bad idea when he tries to save the yellow Ojama from the Elder Centipede. Thankfully, big brothers exist to save the day at the last second. Even though Sniper Island within him is a bit damaged, the two brothers are reunited. Zane convinced Cyrus not to run from Jaden, but to confront him and talk about it. And just like that, Zane is gone again. At least Cyrus gets his dual disc back. The world is now under the rule of the Supreme King, who captures duelists one by one. Next up is Jim. As a child, Jim injured his eye saving his crocodile. Arriving in a village to help against evil monsters, Jim is accidentally knocked out by an ally and dreams about his first day at Duel Academy, where Jaden quickly befriended Crocogirl. After a brief rest, the journey continues to the tower. There, they encounter a guard who they must defeat. Jim shows what he can do. But not on the first turn, since he almost drops down to 0. However, in the next turn he secures a victory and kills the guard. Before heading to Jaden, they return to the village where the Supreme King is about to destroy it. So yeah, they head to Jaden. Unfortunately, their duel doesn't happen because a few guards intervene. After a retreat, Jim explains his special ability to see into people thanks to the Orichalcum eye he received after losing his original eye. They go back to challenge the Supreme King again, who accepts and doesn't hold back at all. In the first turn, the Supreme King significantly weakens Jim. He reveals his eye and, with Axel, takes a trip into Jaden's mind, which looks like the Shadow Realm. The Supreme King controls Jaden's thoughts, pushing him to use super polymerization for immense power, which he would need now, as Jim is turning up the heat in the duel. Jaden repeatedly sacrifices his elemental heroes to summon evil heroes. Jim can only defend himself, which drops him to 50 life points. No matter what Jim does, he can't reach the good side of Jaden. With some extra motivation from the old Jaden, the duel continues. Earth Giant defeats Thunder Giant, bringing Jaden down to 50 life points too. But that's where it ends, as Jaden uses super polymerization to fuse Jim's golem and his monster, summoning Dark Gaia, which ends the duel with a comet shower. Jim and Crocogirl vanish into thin air, leaving only the eye behind. Who's next? Definitely not Axel, who prefers to run away. Esther and Zane are visited by the Goblin Elite Attack Force, who question them about the Supreme King and then send them to the Shadow Realm. Together, they set out to find him, while Axel continues running away. He even now quits dueling entirely, unlike Cyrus, who has become braver and saved a few monsters. Axel then takes his turn to rescue them, which is hard without a dual disc. Luckily, they brought it thanks to Cyrus, and together they managed to defeat the dogs. Axel still has too much fear to face Jaden, but he musters enough courage to challenge one of Jaden's guards to a duel in the last safe city. The guard sacrifices his life points and deck cards to get a spell card and summon a ritual monster, which he powers up and uses to deal significant damage with his effect. However, Axel grills the wolf with Volcanic Doomfire and uses a trap card to take the remaining points. The guard dissolves, the other is captured, and Axel becomes the new leader of the humans and good monsters. He immediately starts organizing and making preparations when Zane and Esther, with some support, join him. The three disguise themselves, fly into the enemy fortress, and use the captive shield to get inside. However, the cover is blown and one of the guards takes over Zane. Esther faces off against two guards, while Axel challenges Jaden, who summons a new evil hero and attacks Axel directly. The others struggle a bit, but not as much as Axel, who finds his footing in the duel and even takes the lead. As Zane and Esther finish up and Cyrus arrives, Axel is on the brink of defeat. Even telling Jaden that Jesse is alive and well doesn't help. But Volcanic Cyclone. Axel wins, or would have, if not for super polymerization, which brings both Axel and Jaden to 0 life points. With Orichalcum to his heart, the Supreme King is defeated. Axel dematerializes, the comet explodes, and they manage to escape. The fact that Jesse is fine wasn't just a joke by the Yellow Ojama, he did see him briefly, though Jesse's eyes looked a bit different. Jaden wakes up, only to lie back down again. Gecko plans to summon the forbidden Exodia, but needs a sacrifice. Conveniently, his stepsister Echo and Crawler, who were saved by Esther and Zane, are teleported to him by Gecko. He can do this because he received an upgrade from Yubel. Gecko wants to force his stepsister to give him her power, which Esther opposes. Did I mention Echo has feelings for her stepbrother? Anyway, the duel begins. Gecko is stalling, playing defensively to draw as many cards as possible. He doesn't care about the tower or losing a few life points. Esther sees through Gecko's plan and disrupts it by limiting each player to only hold 4 cards in the hands. But to make Gecko the king, Echo willingly sacrifices herself for Exodia. And when Gecko can't summon Exodia, he summons Exodius instead. He powers it up but takes a hit from Dogma. But with 4000 attack points, Exodius is too much for Dogma. It's Esther's last turn. He summons Plasma, preventing the next battle phase, allowing him to survive one more turn. He then counters the next battle phase too, but then Echo is crushed and killed by Exodia. Gecko negates the effect, enabling him to attack and finally summon Exodia, becoming the next king and killing Esther, who bought enough time for the others to escape. And with Exodia by his side, Gecko's rule should be unchallenged. The search for Jessie continues, with Jaden haunted by bad memories. They arrive at a large door that calls out to Jaden, and he senses Jessie is behind it. But not so fast. Zane stops him, feeling Jaden has lost his fighting spirit. To reignite it, Zane challenges him to a duel, a life or death game. It's necessary because Jaden is no longer himself, too scared to take action, which is dangerous when facing the armed Cyber Ant Dragon. Zane destroys one card after another, proving how cowardly Jaden has become. It's pointless. When Zane tries to go through the door himself, he suffers a heart attack. So much for the plan. Jaden must overcome his past, but he sees only destruction and fusion within himself. He faces one bad memory after another, challenged by an old guardian at the spot where his friends were sacrificed. But even now, he still can't use his iconic fusion. Perhaps he will reconsider when the two-headed beast lights a fire under him. And now, completely random, Bastion and Tanya appear. With them as cheerleaders, Jaden still can't use fusion, but he defends himself with Blade Edge and wins easily. Tanya's city is at peace again, but the mastermind is still out there. Jaden must defeat him by learning to control the Supreme King within. Zane can't help as he's near death. In this state, Zane finds Jessie and wants his last duel against him. Jessie is possessed by darkness and so are his crystal beasts, thanks to Yubel, who is comfy inside him. It's a duel Zane is willingly to die for. Jessie just defends by sending one crystal beast after another to the graveyard. Zane defuses his twin and attacks Jessie again, who is left completely defenseless. Except for one trap card to stop the attack. He then counters with his Rainbow Dark Dragon, against which even Cyber Barrier Dragon has no effect and is destroyed. With so much damage, Zane's heart acts up even more. Not even Laser Dragon can stand up to Rainbow Dragon. Similarly, a trap card is ineffective. With no more crystals left to save his dragon, it's the perfect setup for Cyber Valley's second effect, leading to Overload Fusion, summoning Cyber Dark Fortress Dragon. It almost takes Jessie out, but he counters and powers up. Rainbow Dark Dragon's attack is countered again, and Zane brings out 3 Cyber Dragons in his turn. Perfect for playing his favorite card with Power Bond. Cyber Ant Dragon with 8000 attack points. Attack! But it's countered. Zane counters back by having Cyber Ant Dragon perform a self-destruct with Cybernetic Zone, stopping his heart. Even Yubel, having used too much energy in the duel, retreats. With his last words, Zane acknowledges Jaden as a grown-up before he finally dissolves. Jaden wants to chase after Yubel, with Cyrus and Crawler joining him for the adventure. They just can't miss out on the fun. Yubel isn't just dealing with them. Gecko awaits on the throne, aiming to defeat Yubel with his newfound strength and rule the dimension. Even though Yubel is weakened from the duel with Zane, he summons Hamon on the first turn, destroying 4 Exodia pieces from his hand. But Gecko doesn't need Exodia itself, summoning Exodius with 3000 points instead. Jessie blocks the first attack and brings Udia to the field, dealing some damage. In Gecko's next turn, he discards another piece, powers up Exodius and attacks. Protecting Uria with some tokens, he takes away some life points and summons Raviel, fusing all 3 sacred beasts. They are smuggled to Gekko's side, where Exodios is destroyed. Mist Castle with the king steps in to take action. Though it has only 1 attack point, it manages to destroy the ultimate sacred beast, growing stronger and nullifying the opponent's effects. Yubel plays some psychological games against Gekko, and herself, nearly running out of steam. She attempts to spread darkness within Gekko, only to find none left. Despite losing some points, Gekko disables the king. He almost brings Exodia back, but it's countered, only to try it again. His hopes are dashed when a monster is gifted to him and Yubel is summoned. She pulls Echo from a card, lets her attack and sends the damage back. Jaden and the others arrive, finding Yubel already on the throne, waiting for them. Such a badass entry did do the trick for Gekko after all. A quick team huddle with his monsters and the final duel begins. It's Jaden versus Yubel, a duel to decide everything. Yubel won't use the sacred beasts for him, but the crystal beasts again. Despite Jaden's struggle, he overcomes his fear and activates fusion. Flame Wingman attacks and Jaden jumps in, entering Jesse's inner world. But Jesse isn't there. If not in his body, he must be within the Rainbow Dark Dragon. Flame Wingman falls and some damage is taken, but the duel is far from over. Jaden sacrifices 2 of Yubel's monsters to summon Nears, returns her unicorn to her hand, and Nears attacks directly. The Rainbow Dark Dragon then appears, supposedly housing Jesse's soul. It unleashes a powerful Kamehameha on Nears and... whoa, Jesse's soul is indeed somewhere within. Jaden is barely hanging on, surviving turn by turn, until he finds himself in another dimension where he encounters the Crystal Beasts. They give him the crucial advice to destroy the field spell to break Yubel's control. Jaden regains some life points, fuses 3 monsters to summon Air Nears, who destroys the field spell, thereby eliminating all the Crystal Beasts. Together they reach out to Jesse, who hears them from within the Rainbow Dark Dragon. Although Air Nears is gone, Nears returns. But Jaden's body is beginning to weaken. Then he draws Super Polymerization, a card he once used for evil. So it's time to use it for good. He fuses Nears with the Rainbow Dragon, now cleansed of darkness, restoring Jesse to his body and expelling Yubel, who gets a physical form. Jaden now controls an absolutely overpowered monster, but Yubel forces a draw. Now it's time for the final duel. Yubel flies high, challenging Jaden to follow her. Given Jesse's deck, Jaden flies after her. As he flies, he recalls all he and Yubel have experienced together. To contact him from space, she infiltrated his dreams, giving him nightmares. Everything that has happened in this dimension was orchestrated by her. Cyrus follows and encounters Bubbles showing his old friends, revealing they can still be saved. The true final duel of the season begins, with Jaden starting off with Flame Wingman, but it's blocked by Yubel's defenses. Her vegetative deck stalls Jaden long enough for her to summon herself, dealing Jaden a severe blow. Cyrus arrives, informing Jaden that their friends still exist and can be saved if he defeats Yubel. However, to do so, Jaden must use and control the Supreme King within him. The Supreme King emerges from Jaden, but this time Jaden can control him. Using the Neo-Spacians, Jaden strengthens his life points and inflicts some damage. He attempts to send Yubel back to her hand with Grand Mole, but she counters, drawing points from Jaden and Yubel. Evolving further, this monster severely challenges Jaden until only Prisma remains on his side. Prisma and all his friends. He summons Nears, transforms Prisma into the Rainbow Dragon and fuses them to summon Rainbow Nears. Nears uses his first effect, sending a card to the graveyard to shuffle all of Yubel's cards back into her deck. Jaden powers up Nears with an equip card to negate Yubel's effect, but thanks to a trap, no damage is inflicted and the equip card is gone. He then brings back some friends to activate Nears' second effect, sacrificing Clayman to destroy Yubel. However, this brings Yubel's ultimate form to the field, now with a male voice.
僕は君を誰の手も届かない遥かな次元に連れて行く。 そこで僕が永遠に君の眠りを守ってあげる。
Rainbow Nears is gone, but regular Nears returns to the field. During Yubel's next attack, Jaden is transported to the past, witnessing how Yubel became who she is. She was chosen to protect Jaden until he could control the Supreme King's power, even undergoing a painful transformation that Jaden in his past life didn't truly want. She emerged looking as she does now, with Jaden swearing eternal love to her. Realizing what he must do, Jaden bids farewell to his friends, especially Cyrus.
子供から大人になるために今から旅に出るガチャ
Jaden has matured and is ready to face Yubel properly. He gives her super polymerization, which can fuse monsters from all 12 levels, representing all 12 universes, to unite them and bring them to a collapse. As meteors fly and worlds begin to crumble, Jaden agrees with Yubel not to destroy all universes, but that they should be fused together. He then uses his own super polymerization to fulfill Yubel's wish and unite with her. This changes Yubel's perspective, and together with Jaden, they set everything right. In an instant, everyone is back, healthy and safe in the real world. Everyone except Zane, Gecko, Bastion and Jaden. Naturally, Jaden's friends are deeply saddened. Cyrus refuses to believe Jaden is dead, thinking instead that he's simply grown up, as Jaden had said. Cyrus leaves while the others reminisce about their duels with Jaden. Chess realizes he didn't just lose to Jaden twice, but would have probably lost the first duel as well if it had continued. Chess demands a rematch, wanting Jaden to come back, just like Cyrus prays for his return. And since Shooting Star's grand wishes, Jaden comes back, shooting down like a star.
So, 今日はエビフライの日だったっけ?
Who's back? Jaden is back! At first, everything seems fine. The exchange students have left, Bonaparte and his son are heading home, Blair is living with the other girls in the Obelisk Blue Dorm, and Chess and Cyrus have also moved there. Hazelberry has moved into the Yellow Dorm, so everything is peaceful at Duel Academy. Until a storm hits and an angel appears. Oh, and Jaden is spending his time secluded in the Slifer Red Dorm, with the spirit of Professor Banner by his side. One phone call later, it turns out all the dual discs are broken. That's what you get for buying cheap new models. Though they do look pretty stylish. Maybe it's the cards that our now more mature friends need together. Among them is Fujiwara, who is new but also not. So yeah, he's new, but he can manipulate memories to trick them that he's known everyone forever. Alone in the computer room, Fujiwara targets the Forbidden Dorm and destroys all the collected cards, which then spread as the Shadow Realm, attacking Fujiwara. Jaden gets a warning from Wing Kuribo and comes to save his ass. The Shadow takes form, and the first duel of the 4th season begins. The Shadow Man starts with a monster that even Jaden doesn't know. Jaden summons his Marina to split it up again to summon Nears, which fall right into a trap. Well, he actually just do more damage, allowing him to draw a card. He summons an equally strong monster and upgrades it. But Jaden can power up too. He ends the duel with it, causing the shadow to vanish. Fujiwara tries his mind manipulation on Jaden, but it doesn't work thanks to Yubel inside him, acting like a bijou, protecting him from genjutsus. Fujiwara prays the sun and simply disappears. Atticus had a nightmare about his old friend, and now his TV has no signal. The friends search for Jaden, but he's with Chancellor Shepard, planning to drop out of school because he believes staying will only cause more trouble. Just then, Kagemaru and Sartorius call the Chancellor, convincing Jaden to meet with them and to talk him out of leaving. And there's our leather drip villain from the 90s, who teleports to Jaden using their scorer to avenge his lost duel. To add some pressure, he erupts a volcano, targeting the fleeing Kagemaru and Sartorius, who are saved by Jaden's Nears. Attack the villain, who's calling himself True Man and probably mastered the Ninja Academy since he mastered the substitution jutsu. The duel begins with extra tension for Jaden. Truman uses the same tactic, powering up Jaden's Sparkman, losing some life points, but allowing a direct attack on Jaden. Mudballman's Dynamic Entry helps regain some life points, and he tries a fusion himself to summon the Black Meteor Dragon. It looks impressive and also can deal some damage to Jaden, but with the heart of the cards on his side and just 2 face down cards, Jaden turns the duel. He activates a trap, summons Nears, then activates another trap to strengthen Nears and put the dragon to sleep, winning the duel. Truman retreats back to Garganta, where it seems there are 2 of him. Jaden learns that Fujiwara has been missing for years, much like Atticus, who vanished from the Forbidden Dorm years ago. Atticus and Fujiwara met at the place where they vanished, but Atticus needed to be saved from Fujiwara's powers by Axel's solar flare grenade and instant transmission. He's on the island to investigate the issue with the broken cards, which led him to Fujiwara. After a small argument between Jaden and Alexis, Atticus meets Jaden to go to the Forbidden Dorm together, where the others join them. To uncover the truth, Atticus puts the mask on and becomes Night Shroud again, challenging Jaden to a duel. Atticus doesn't hold back at all, summoning Red Eyes Black Dragon in the first turn and pressing Jaden down to 1600 life points. He then brings out the Dark Red Eyes with 3000 attack points. Only Nears can help now. Jaden powers him up, defeats the dragon and takes a huge part of life points. However, that hit wasn't enough. Sure, strange things start appearing on the face, but his memories are still foggy. He summons his dragon once again and destroys Nears, who Jaden quickly revives. Atticus upgrades his Dark Red Eyes with metal, giving it 4000 attack points, which Jaden barely survives. Jaden then strips away the power boost, strengthens his Nears and wins the duel with the final headbutt, restoring his memories. Atticus and Fujiwara were very good friends until Fujiwara started experimenting with darkness. He sacrificed himself so Atticus could inherit the legacy of Night Shroud and carry on, because he was consumed by the darkness and died. And then Fujiwara appeared. Who isn't Fujiwara, but the not so honest monster Honest, who immediately goes on the attack. They escape just as the dorm explodes. However, Honest is still after them, attacking with the slowest feathers in the world, which Jaden counters with Nears, revealing to the others that Yubel lives within him. Pretty convincing. The darkness continues to spread in the world of duel monsters, with the defective cards acting as portals. Truman returns, having fused with his other selves, hoping he finally has a chance against Jaden. Honest gets caught, has a heart-to-heart with Jaden, and also becomes part of him and his deck. Round 3 begins. Truman wastes no time and summons the 5-headed dragon in the first turn. Nice try from Jaden using Grand Mole, but its effect is negated, leaving Jaden almost at 0 life points despite doubling his attack points. So for now, Jaden has to focus on defense. Which is very important, because Truman summons a second 5-headed dragon, sacrifices it to have the other destroy all of Jaden's monsters. Only the combined strength of Nears and Honest can help now. Nears gains the attack power of the 5-headed dragon, putting Jaden ahead 3-0 with more duels to come. But when that happens, Jaden knows his friends will stand by his side. To celebrate the soon-to-be graduates, a duel party is planned. Alexis is tasked with delivering the invitation to Jaden, and she thinks about how he hasn't laughed in a long time. After taking a few pictures with him and handing over the invitation, Jaden is off again. At the party, tag duels are played and everyone wants Alexis as their partner. However, Jaden is randomly assigned to her just as he walks in, completely clueless about what's going on. Their opponents were supposed to be juniors, but turn out to be Chancellor Shepard and Dorothy. Shepard starts strong, while Dorothy has no idea about duel monsters, allowing Jaden to quickly defeat them. In the subsequent duels, Jaden resolves everything in his first turn, but doesn't really play as part of a team, which annoys Alexis. Then the final round begins. It's Blair and Hasselberry against Jaden and Alexis. Once again, Jaden's mind is elsewhere, and he isn't teaming up with Alexis as she had hoped. When Team Blair and Hasselberry is almost defeated after the first turn, and tensions are running high between Jaden and Alexis, Blair uses partner swap and switches sides with Alexis, making her even more jealous and angry. Hasselberry brings out the Black Tyranno, and while Blair defends, Alexis manages to deal some damage, which brings Jaden's enjoyment for dueling back. He remembers a combo Alexis used, realizing that while there are serious times, it's also okay to have fun. He's grateful to have met Alexis, which reconciles them. Alexis destroys the partner swap card, returning them to their original teams, and they finally start playing as a true team. Alexis uses Jaden's face down card to bring back Cyber Tutu, attacking directly. Cyber Tutu digitizes and powers up, ending the duel. That evening, Alexis almost confesses her love to Jaden, but at least she gets a nostalgic smile from him, which makes her happy.
俺からもお前に言うことがあったんだ。ガッチャ、久しぶりに楽しいデュエルありがとう。
A duelist with a psychic deck, rivaling the cyber deck, took down Shepard's helicopter, defeating him in a duel, and now has his sights set on Zane. If they ever manage to get off the island. Zane is actually still alive and was washed ashore at Duel Academy, where he now has parking privileges everywhere. He reminisces with Cyrus about Jaden when Shepard warns him about the duelist. That evening, Zane goes to the beach to face the duelist. Cyrus tries to stop him, but no use. And yeah, one direct attack later, Zane's heart might have been pushed too far. Just as he was about to execute his strategy to win the duel, he loses all his strength and collapses. So that Cyrus takes over Zane's deck to duel in his brother's place the next day. Zane survived after a surgery, but is separated from his deck by Cyrus, who realizes that the deck is extremely hard on the heart. To overcome this, Cyrus needs to make the deck his own. In the duel, both use the exact same tactics as before. However, Cyrus manages to activate the trap, summon the Dark Dragon, and brings out Cyber End-Dragon. If there wouldn't be the Crush card. Zane's strategy seems to be falling apart, especially since Cyrus is now facing Psycho Lord Jinzo. He corners Cyrus with his Crush card and his Trap cards. Finally, the moment Cyrus has been waiting for arrives. He surpasses his brother with an impressive 1000 IQ combo, which even impresses Zane. No surprise at all, considering Cyrus's 5800 attack points monster, which gets the duel for him. And with that win, the deck officially belongs to Cyrus. Chess is desperate because he can't get a pro duelist contract. So Crowler steps in to support him and connects him with Esther Phoenix. With a little encouragement from Jaden, Chess accepts the opportunity and becomes Esther's new manager. Despite ending up in a rundown place, Chess takes it in stride and starts managing Esther's numerous tasks and bookings. Esther shakes so many hands that they start bleeding, motivating Chess to give his best and handle every task perfectly. However, Chess loses a very important briefcase, which could ruin Esther's career. So to set things right, Chess takes on a duel, dressed as a yellow Ojama, against Jaden. If he wins, Esther's boss will forget everything. If he loses, it's the end of Chess's hopes being a pro duelist. In the duel, Chess goes all out with his Ojamas, led by Ojama King. But when Jaden summons Shining Flare Wingman, Chess could destroy him with a trap card, activating another card instead because he was told the audience needed loves and that he should lose the duel. As a result, Esther loses his pro status and Chess gets fired. With nothing better to do, Esther now spends his time playing with children at a home he has sponsored. His manager, however, wants to organize a duel between Esther and Chess, who has become a new fan favorite. It turns out the manager was the one who stole the briefcase, causing Esther's downfall in the first place. Esther starts strong, summoning his Dreadmaster and new Destiny heroes, putting Chess under serious pressure. This time, Chess doesn't rely on his Ojamas, but instead brings out his armed dragons. He deals some damage with level 5, and then transform it into level 7. The manager tells Aster to lose the duel, but the plan has already been executed. The manager gets caught with some fleas, retrieves the special stolen card from Aster, resolves the case, and Aster is back in the game. So the duel continues without restrictions and costumes. Aster powers up Plasma and almost defeats Chess, who manages to protect himself. Still confident, even after Aster fuses Plasma with Dogma to create Destiny and Dragon. On the other side, Chess brings out his level 10 and they destroy each other. Seizing the opportunity, Chess attacks directly with his yellow Ojama with 0 attack points, which gets powered up by a trap card, winning the duel against Aster. Finally, the phone lines are burning and Chess is flooded with requests and offers. The photos for the album are ready and Crawler takes it upon himself to put it together. It's really hitting him hard that the time is ending, so much that he makes the classes either excessively difficult or cancels them altogether, leaving the students without enough points to graduate. Whether Crawler will continue teaching to give the students a chance to graduate will be decided in a duel. A duel between Jaden and Crawler, just like the one in the first episode of the first season. This time, Flame Wingman comes out right away, dealing some damage, but then being sent to the graveyard. It's time for Crawler to bring out his ancient gear golem. 3 times. After some smooth moves and destroying the first golem, Crawler confesses to the others that he wants to keep them all there. To achieve this, he fuses all 3 ancient gear golems into the ultimate ancient gear golem. It's a powerful machine, but Aeneas drains the life out of it and even brings Flame Wingman back just as Crawler revives one of his golems. Jaden activates the effect of Skyscraper and just like in the first duel, he wins the match with Flame Wingman against the golem. A boy, tired of always losing, becomes possessed by Truman, who first thinks it's cool to get rid of his parents. Right before the final exams. To graduate, students must earn points by winning duels. The top scorer will even receive a replica of Yugi's deck. So of course, all the main characters are busy as hell. And even when Jaden's opponent, the best from the second year, has studied Jaden's tactics, uses Horus level monsters and can counter some of Jaden's moves and deals damage, he can't withstand Jaden's Flareneers, who uses diffusion to attack directly again, securing the win. This infuriates him, and he too gets copied by Truman and gets banished Tsukuyomi style after a duel. Meanwhile, people begin disappearing from Battle City, not just physically, but also from all records, except for Kaiba. Jaden is informed, but loses connection, prompting him to head to Domino City. At the same time, Axel faces terrifying creepy events as Truman reveals his true form. So it's time to duel. Duel disc loaded, KGB mode activated. Just like with Jaden, Truman starts with an archetype, letting his life points drop only to summon another monster. This time, he puts Axel through a brutal LSD trip involving his father, forcing him to duel against his own original deck. Axel experiences constant flashbacks, and even though he knows that it's all just a genjutsu, it still deeply hurts him by the words that remind him of his mother's car accident. Especially when Truman gets a monster on the field that represents Axel's burning mother. These flashback tactics are crazy, bro. Since his mother not only died in a car accident, but perished in flames while Axel could only save his father. Man, this duel is getting really dark. Almost like the original Yu-Gi-Oh manga. Axel is forced to attack the mother cards, which backfires. He now wishes he had died with his parents and then vanishes into the darkness, leaving only his duel disc behind. Truman takes over his body, goes to Axel's still living parents to erase their memories of him, and then surrounds Jaden with the Shadow Clone Jutsu. First, Jaden is surrounded by multiple Axels, then by Truman himself, when suddenly a mysterious motorcyclist appears to help him out of the mess. Wait a minute, since when is Satyrs such an action hero? He rescues Jaden, only to trap him and force him into a duel. The darkness has taken his sister hostage, so he has little choice. Using some truly unfair dark cards, Sartorius employs a similar strategy but with even more powerful effects. And Sartorius isn't playing fair either. He pulled a Weevil move and slipped a card into Jaden's deck before the duel, putting Jaden in a hopeless situation by choosing his monster effects himself. And since the fool has 0 attack points and can't be destroyed in battle, Jaden's life points are slowly whittled down, while he can't summon or change his monster's positions. Sartorius has full control over Jaden, and there's nothing Jaden can do about it. So this is how Nappa must have felt fighting against Goku. And just when all hope seems lost, Jaden's old friend, the winged Kuribo, appears, powered up to clear away some of the trouble. However, Sartorius summons his new, strongest monster, manipulating effects that thin out Jaden's deck. Sartorius' sister appears, pleading for Jaden to save Sartorius not from the light this time, but from the darkness. Jaden switches to defense for a while, but then the moment arrives. He finally managed to destroy the fool, reclaiming his ability to influence fate. With this breakthrough, Jaden is able to summon a monster and brings out Magma Nears, who uses Entei to destroy the Dark Ruler. When Jaden summons Nears as well, Sartorius accepts his fate and is consumed by the darkness, where he is greeted by his sister. Jaden, however, isn't as fortunate, because the building is now exploding and he's stuck on the top floor. Jaden suddenly finds himself in what feels like a Michael Bay film set, jumping from one elevator to another. He summons Nears to blow up the roof, launching him across the air and catching him instead of just picking him up on the roof. A bit damaged, he makes his way back to Duel Academy, where darkness is spreading, pulling one person after another to its side. Everyone except Hazelberry, who is protected by his Dino DNA. Jaden, not knowing how to brake, drones the motorcycle. Completely drained, he encounters a Truman, who surprisingly isn't looking for trouble and is using Jesse's Crystal Beast cards. Time to see if the crystals still shine when Tempest mixes them up. Oh, the attack is negated and Rainbow Dragon appears, showing Tempest what a real beam looks like. With that attack, Jaden loses a card, the darkness pulls away from him, and he can finally think clearly again. Together, they head back to the academy. Hazelberry is still dueling, struggling against the Horus deck. His Infinite Tyranno gains strength through sacrifices, dealing some damage, and he boasts about his Dino Bone. Until he's shown a world of dinosaurs, causing his bone to turn against him and attack. Not only that, but he also loses the duel. Cyrus has also lost. Chess and Atticus notice that something is wrong as more and more students are being forgotten and their names are disappearing everywhere. They decide to sacrifice themselves to let Alexis and her friends escape and report everything to Jaden. However, they are intercepted and taken down first. Chess falls too, leaving only Atticus, who wanders the academy alone, trying to remember his friends. With the Nightroad mask, he can see what they are going through. They are facing their worst fears. Chess repeatedly loses in pro duels. Cyrus continually loses his brother and fails to fulfill his last wish, and Alexis struggles as a bad teacher. But in this way, Atticus can at least recall them and challenges Truman to a duel. However, Fujiwara steps in to duel him instead. He constantly keeps erasing Atticus' memories of the duel, so he doesn't know what's in his graveyard and can't summon anyone from there. And just before Atticus loses to the darkness, Jaden and Jesse manage to pull him out, reminding him of the good old times. Atticus now summons the Red Eyes and deals some damage, regaining his strength and determination. Fujiwara himself has switched to the darkness, since there are no winners or losers, just people who experience the worst fears 50,000 times until they realize their insignificance and give up their dreams. And when someone gives up, they become one with the darkness. Using Clear World, Atticus has it extremely difficult for his darkness monsters, as they can't attack. Additionally, a solar eclipse is approaching, making things even more challenging. But Atticus refuses to give up. he summons his red eyes once more and blasts away Fujiwara's life points, managing to force a stalemate in an attempt to save Fujiwara. However, Fujiwara just cheats by rewinding the entire duel, altering one of his monster's effects, and ultimately defeats Atticus. What a damn cheater! Next up, Jaden and Jessie duel together. They start off as an incredibly strong team. Almost too strong. This irritates Fujiwara, who tries to turn Jessie against Jaden by making him see into his heart and revealing that Jaden is his darkness. This plays perfectly into Fujiwara's hands, promoting Jessie to turn on Jaden, making it a 2-on-1 duel against Jaden. But hell no! It was a team play all along to power up Jessie's Pegasus, which attack gets negated. Flame Wingman's attack hits through, cooking Fujiwara medium rare, with Clayman softening him with punches. No darkness in the world can stand against the Jaden Jessie team. But maybe Fujiwara's trump card can. The clear Crystal Dragon. Fujiwara continues to pit Jaden and Jessie against each other, refusing to believe in such a strong bond. After all, his parents abandoned him early on by escaping to the afterlife. He couldn't forget the Treasures Act, which drove him to madness, performing rituals and ultimately siding with the darkness. Flame Wingman couldn't stand against the dragon, but maybe another dragon could. The Rainbow Dragon. Okay, it clears the field a bit, but then Honest, Fujiwara's former dual spirit, appears. To protect Honest, Jessie sacrifices himself and is eliminated from the duel. This enrages Jaden a bit. He summons Nears and Jessie's Rainbow Dragon, speaks to Fujiwara's conscience through Honest, and brings out Rainbow Nears, which only strengthens Fujiwara's monster, but he himself begins to crack. Rainbow Nears, boosted by Honest, exorcises the darkness from Fujiwara and ends the duel. Though the duel is won, the solar eclipse remains. Jessie watches over Fujiwara, while Jaden surveys a world where no one exists anymore. Even Jessie and Fujiwara vanished. At least Professor Banner's spirit is still around. Banner and the darkness itself, which now contains all of humanity within it, showing Jaden how his friends slowly fell into despair and found eternal peace. Because before even the universe existed, there was a card. One side represented light, the other darkness. Depending on how humanity evolved, either light or darkness would prevail, and as more duelists turned evil and greedy, the darkness was able to manifest. Yeah, Jaden doesn't wanna hear that bullshit. So, duel! Of course, the field spell card Darkness is played right away to set 5 trap cards each turn and repeatedly activate their effects, constantly pissing off Jaden. And his life points. Things get worse when the darkness summons a monster to extract Yubel from Jaden, which is enough. Jaden uses super polymerization, fusing his Nears with Yubel, kicks powerful ass, and finally gaining the upper hand in the duel. The darkness tries to eliminate Nears Wiseman with a trap combo, but Wiseman is immune to trap effects.
たった一人の人間の意志でなど世界の断りは動かん。
The darkness impales itself, resetting its life points to 4000 at each end phase. The seed can't be destroyed in battle and evolves into a bramble bush, which then transforms into Darkness Neosphere. Jaden takes advantage of this, turning his panther into Neosphere, allowing him to set the field spell card face down. If the darkness activates it again, all of his traps will be destroyed. Countered that, Wiseman gets destroyed by Darkness Neosphere with its incredibly creepy attack just for Jaden to banish Yubel to bring back Nears. Just like the courage of his friends. With some inspiring words, Jaden lifts everyone's spirits, giving them hope for the future that everything will end up well. The darkness starts to break and light returns, bringing people back to the world. Finally, they are witnesses to Jaden's victory against the fucking darkness. And how so, if not with a fusion card?
ありがとう、俺のデッキ。お前たちこそが俺が築き上げてきた絆のすべて。
Using Future Fusion, he sends 5 other cards to the graveyard to perform the ultimate contact fusion, summoning Divine Nears. With his 8400 attack points, Divine Nears brings light into the darkness and reduces the Bone Body's life points to 0. The world has been saved from the darkness And no, nothing stands in the way of the graduation ceremony. Despite Crawler's reluctance, Shepard takes over. Chess, Cyrus and Alexis are recognized as the top students but decline Yugi's deck, preferring their own. Hazelberry gives the graduation speech, followed by Alexis, and then everyone receives their diplomas. There's a firework and a small party where Fujiwara apologizes, and of course Jaden doesn't attend. He has something else on his mind. He packs his things and leaves without saying goodbye to anyone. However, Winged Kuribo has other plans. He leads Jaden to Yugi's deck, where Yugi himself is waiting. Yugi tells Jaden that he has lost something important on his journey, something Yugi wants to return to him. So he teleports Jaden to Domino City back when Yugi was still an active duelist. There, Jaden encounters Yugi and time stands still as they prepare to duel. Jaden kicks things off with his trusty Flame Wingman, a monster Yugi has never seen before. Yugi responds powerfully, summoning the Dark Magician in his first turn and destroying Flame Wingman. Jaden manages to block a direct attack, and then it's the Dark Magician facing off against Neas. Neas powers up and attacks the Dark Magician but is halted by Mirror Force. Anyway, Jaden brings Neas back and attacks again, resulting in both monsters being destroyed. Gaia destroys Sparkman, who then meets with the Golden Man, Bledich, who takes out Gaia. So Yugi summons Dark Magician Girl, who gets stronger with the Dark Magician in the graveyard and attacks. Gilfa weakens Bledich enough to destroy him. As Jaden shakens, he realizes what he lost over the past 3 years. The joy of dueling. With fun, he manages to bring out Buster Blader, Black Luster Soldier and Valkyrian, only to send them back to Yugi's hand, taking some life point damage, but using Miracle Fusion to summon Shining Flare Wingman and Magma Nears. Magma tries to unleash Terror Force, almost hitting Jaden himself thanks to Magic Cylinder. Then it's Shining Flare Wingman's turn, as Arsem appears.
彼の強さに俺のデュエリストの魂がさっきからうずいて仕方ないのさ。
He summons a very special monster, Slifer, the Sky Dragon. Nears attacks and the duel is filled with so much excitement. Suddenly, Jaden finds himself in a mysterious place with Pharaoh and Professor Banner, receiving a heartfelt message from his friends.
まっすぐまっすぐまっすぐ前を見つめてガッチャ